West, y'all.
Yeah, well, those guys are fanatics, mate. Sports fanatic.
Love it, eh? It's like, but not just one sport, like all sorts, you know?
But a lot of it crosses over to all different codes anyway. There's heaps of things you see in different sports that you can, you know, they correlate to other things, just basic stuff.
Yeah. I admire a lot of sports writers and sports journalists, because if that's your job, just to watch games every weekend, and just write about it,
but amazing.
What kind of job? That's a dream job, eh? You know?
Yeah. I've always loved or wanted to be like a video analysis. You watch a game and then you can watch it over and then just pick up things that players constantly are doing and stuff. Yeah, and just watch the game and then just give feedback to coaches, because then you don't have that much pressure on you to make all the big calls, but you can just say, oh, this is what I see.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see something different to everyone else, but
would you have to see it through like what's live though, or would you record it yourself?
And then watch it over.
Yeah.
Just watch it. That's why every time I go to a game, like a live game, I stand behind the post. Go to All Blacks or anything, I always watch it from behind the post. Even though those are the cheaper tickets, like I always watch it from behind, because you can just see everything.
You see everything,
yeah. You're further away, but you can see the space. You can just see it. To me, you can see more.
Because I've had rugby coaches on this podcast before, and they said that they love the game, they play the game. Then once they become a coach, it's hard for them to watch games, especially the games on TV, because it's like they're always thinking, and it sort of ruins the entertainment part of it.
Yeah, true.
Is that like you too, or do you when you watch the All Blacks games or games like that? What kind of lens I know you see it through a coach's lens, but how does that affect like?
I usually watch most of the games with either my kids or like family and stuff, and they're not like, their rugby IQ is not that high, so I try and explain different things to them, and they're always asking questions like, oh, what was that call for? Why did they do that? Or so it's quite good, because I actually enjoy trying to explain it, especially to my kids, to get them to learn the game. Like the reason he did this was, like I always say to my son about playing rugby can be like a game of chess. You make a move not for that one, but because in 2 turns that's when you're gonna strike. Yeah, so I try and explain that to them sometimes. It's good.
When you're sitting behind the post watching the games, what are you seeing that helps you with what you do in that particular angle?
More where the space is, and eyes up, so seeing if players can work off the ball. So, someone's out on the wing and the ruck's on the other side and they're just having a rest. So maybe stood up and they're just standing there catching their breath, instead of trying to organise the next play or, pass it on to them. Yeah, that's why I like to watch it.
Nice, bro. I love that, because, the stuff that you don't see on the board that you won't see on screen, and that's if the winger's saying that the fullback's up, and the winger will tell centres like, oh, 15's up, or like no one's home. Simple things like that, man, and you take the kick or kick it but keep it in play. Yeah, that's the stuff that you don't see on the telly. But that's why, like you're saying, behind the post is the best place to see it.
It happened today in the game, the Kelston game. Like, one of our wingers the ruck was like in the middle of the goalpost, and he's standing there yelling at the ref, like, because our guys competing for the ball. The next thing you know, they go pass, and then he gets beaten on the outside, and they scored. And it's like, bro, if you had to just turned your energy into concentrating on what you needed to do, or
How's it dealing with that, though? Like, because we've played, and cause that's our space, like we've come out of that space. Is it hard to sort of talk to this generation of kids? Because the talent, like, they're bigger, they're talented, but what about the rugby IQ? Is it there?
Yeah, the kids know more now, I reckon. I reckon they know a lot more, and there's so many more coaches available to players. Whereas, when we were younger, we probably had one coach, and he probably took you from under 5s to 13s, and you got first 15, like probably had 4 coaches by the time you got to first 15 in your whole career. Whereas now there's like 5 coaches in one team, in one setup. So you've got to try and make sure you're not contradicting the other coaches with what you're saying, because sometimes someone's like, oh, you've got to give more energy, or you've got to, get more mongrel. But, and like in our speech today, I went in and I said, like, the attitude and the energy is in the wrong place. So it's good, but it's in the wrong place. We're celebrating high tackles and big hits, and it's like, celebrate when you draw and pass and score a try, or so you got to try and make sure what you say comes across good, because some kids take it quite personally.
Right, that's amazing you say that though. That's true though. Like I think you using a different tone, just a tone, a tone with a lot of kids will be different, because it might not be the norms to them, or it might be foreign to them. But yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah, that's a common thing, like the way you deliver. Like it might be something like, man, if you're off the ball, like look alive, don't look deflated, because the deflated look, bro, that you're a target. They're gonna start running at you, or they're gonna start putting the pressure on your side if you look like you giving up. But some kids they'll be like, oh fuck it, the coach just said I'm gay, that's how he interprets it,
Yeah. I try and use what I call a shit sandwich. So you start with something positive, then you have the meat, the shit, tell them that's bad, and then finish with something good. So in their head, they hear the good, so they're up, they're positive, they listen, and then they get told the negative, so they're like, oh, okay, I need to do this, and then you finish with something good. So then on that note, when they leave, they've still got two positive things, because if you came straight out for negative, straight away the player's going to close up, and then in my eyes, they just take they don't listen.
And you're not ending with the negative, eh?
Yeah, in on a positive, yeah. So
that's the thing they do at the universities now when it comes to if you take a class and they critique your work, they do that sort of thing. Like they give a recommendation. Oh, they call it CRC, commendation first, and then recommendation means you can say what's wrong with it, but you got to end with a commendation again, something positive.
Yeah. It's all about making everyone happy, eh?
Yeah. How do you guys feel about that? Because to me,
if we had it, like I said to everyone that's come on, if I had that, people probably would have been telling Mungo or something like that, It's different for everyone, but yeah, I felt like I noticed, because I work in teams, I've always been a part of a team that, yeah, at the beginning of the week, right, if your bosses come out and just bitch and moan, that's not the best way to start the week, because you got another 6 days to go, sort of thing. So if the energy's shit at the start of the week, it's like, oh, fuck this, man. Fuck me, yeah. Fuck these guys. But if you go, how's the weekend? Hope everyone's safe. Have a good weekend. Let's make sure that no one gets hurt today. Just a few things. And that's when you start your, put the hoist back on charge. Stuff like that. Be mindful of the exits. Don't stage stuff in the wrong place. Sweet. All good. 3 days to go, guys. Have a good week. Fuck, bro. I'm amped to work. If I heard that sort of talk on the rugby field, I think I feel better about myself, and I would be drinking at this guy's house on the weekends. But how did you get pulled in, bro? What was it? Back at school. How'd you get back into?
Because I been down there, so I've been doing a little bit with Glenhead Intermediate and Zane and all them are there, and then yes, because she's a part of that, and now my son's just started there. So I did the sevens there, 2018. Yep. I took the Condor sevens team and I enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
cool, bro.
Yeah, it was awesome. I've always wanted to go back and coach there. It was awesome for me. I love that school. Still, always talk about it. My kid didn't quite understand, my son, but I sent him to Mags, year 9 and 10, more so because of the boarding. But then I bought a house in Glendine, so I said to him, you're going to go back to Kelston. And man, it was only after a week he just changed. He was happy. Awesome. He loved the day. He just came straight back home, and then he sort of understood that brotherhood. That everyone that's been a part of the school wants to go back or support or do something. So yeah, so as soon as they sort of messaged, they said, we've got a bit of a gap there to help out off the back. So I was like, no. I wanted to do something. I spoke to him at the end of last year. I just messaged him and said, but if I can help anywhere, just let me know. I don't mind coming down, even just taking a session. So I was trying to sort of get suburbs back into Kelston.
Yeah, that's good.
There's just a big separation of, that gap from school to club rugby. And Kelston have lost that. Our suburbs have lost that massively of Kelston. When we were there, we had Hanksy would come in. Yeah. And most of that first 15 group from when we were year 9, Stephen Bates and Mossy and all that. Yeah, they were all suburbs boys. So that was our club. And Avondale used to be strong then, first 15. Even Mags sort of went to suburbs, but lost that, eh? So I'm trying to come from a club side to help out, but also love being part of the school. Yeah, it's good, man.
Coming back to the school, obviously you've been your old boy with this guy over here. But you know, we always, when we get the old boys to come in this podcast, it's always the background of the Kelston Boys brotherhood. There's always there, you know. There's always a conversation to be had, you know, and it's something that I admire, because the high school I came from, we don't ever really have that sort of thing. And we talked about it before. It was like, maybe it's just the co-ed schools that have trouble with having old boys and old girls sort of thing, and the brotherhood thing. You get it more with single sex schools, like De La Salle has it, St. Paul's has it, and Kelston Boys has it, you know. But you know, for you coming back to the school at the time you did, how much do the boys give back to the school in terms of their idea of doing stuff like taking sports teams, or going back as teachers, or you know, being part of the school background, like in your guys' generation, like what does that look like?
I think a lot of guys, and when we were there, we had teachers like, you know, Mr. Cooley, and then Fs came back, and Mr. Talamina, and these are all guys that had been at the school previous, so they had left, gone into their teacher's degree, and they came back and taught at the school. So as a student, like, to me, that was really cool. I was like, oh man, I might aspire to be like a PE teacher and go back. And that's still happening now. Like, you know, my son just started there, and he's like, oh, this, you know, Mr. Beeston, the PE teacher, goes, oh, you look like a Burns, you know. And he's like, everywhere I go, someone's like, oh yeah, I know your dad. And he's like, it's annoying. Yeah. But I was like, good, I've got lots of eyes out there to tell me he's being naughty. But yeah, no, so that's still happening, and I reckon it continue with kids that leave, you know, go on and be teachers. They want to go back and teach at that school.
Future's looking bright.
Yeah, it's good. It's sort of dipped off for a bit there, but I reckon there's a lot more passion come back into the school, and you see that through the role. You know, the role at school was massive now, so it was quite low a while ago, but a lot of negative, just media, you know, when they get fixated on something and just try and bring someone down. Yeah. So it's good to see the school sort of pushing through that.
It's good to see too, because I remember that time when that kid, he died, eh?
Yeah, the Stephen Dudley.
Yeah, that wasn't long ago, eh? That was a few years ago.
Yeah, the role dropped heaps, eh? And like, you know, we normalize that conversation now. Like in our other pod, Empty Out the Clip, we'll be talking about all the lights that being shone on Wesley College. But like, Wesley's a rugby strong school, you know. It's the oldest school in the country. But just with everything that's happening around that, is like, it's not shying away from how it really is. Because Kelston it was rough, eh, back in the day. Yeah. And probably to this day, it probably, if it's not like actually spoken about, it'd probably be hard for a lot of kids. But then you do sort of like have that friend group that sort of stays with you all the way through school, eh? Yeah. Like, how deep are we out of school? Like 22 years, 23 years?
Yeah.
But like, we still talk like it's the other day, eh?
It feels like it. Yeah. And when you're saying with those other schools don't really have it, like, you know, one of my best mates, Sid, he's a Mags boy, and I feel like he's always wanted that old boy. He's always mocks me about it, like, oh man, give up schools ages ago. But he just didn't experience it like we did.
Shout out to Sid Smells, man. He's still one of us. Him and Joel McGraw, they're two Mags old boys, alumni, but they've always been part of the Kelston Finisher, man, because all their affiliations to the boys, old boys. But yeah, shout out to those two.
And it's weird to say that about Mags, because that is a boys' school. Oh, they got co-ed now, eh? Girls there now, so maybe it's dropped off a bit then, since they have the girls. Because I remember when I was in school, when it was just a boys' school, like that was one of the top schools with basketball. Yeah, and Kelston as well. Yeah, I think it was Kelston, Mags, and it was just one of those schools that had the aura.
Yeah. Kelston basketball's coming back, which is good. See them doing well.
It just surprises me that all these sports disappeared all of a sudden, but they've got a lot of old boys at school. That's where I'm like, oh, okay, so if you're doing the work, how come we don't have a basketball team or, you know, swimming team?
Yeah, it was just the concentration's just been on rugby, solely. I mean, I think there's only one soccer team, maybe this year's 2 cricket teams. When we were there, cricket was strong, like. Oh, yeah. We had 6 or 7 teams. Yeah. It was part of the academy. Oh, gee. Now I go down there and you see the cricket nets are just overgrown. It's like a jungle. It's just, it's all gone. They just marked out the old second soccer field is now a third rugby field there now. So, yeah. It was always weird though. We used to have 3 soccer fields and 2 rugby fields at rugby predominant school.
So now you got the role as backs coach for Kelson Boys First 15.
Yep.
You had a game this morning. How did that go?
It
Did
was
you
a tough
guys
watch.
play?
We had a run against Avondale, but it was mainly we were probably missing 10 of our first 15 like core starters. So it was just an opportunity to try and get some of those fringe guys some game time, and yeah, it's hard, man, trying to get guys to stop bad habits.
Oh,
You know, like
what?
yeah, just a lazy defense. You know, just high shots, because with that whole new rule change, first contact's got to be below the sternum.
Man, so yeah, I read a snippet of it.
I thought that was in England only. Are they doing it here now?
Nah, England's like hips below the hips or something, but
Well,
yeah,
the
New
photo-
Zealand's sternum.
Oh,
below.
yeah.
Because I think the photo's on the Herald. So the boy running the ball on the right side in the Otago colours, that's Pistovia's son.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. But it's Tim Putsy's boy as well.
yeah.
But yeah, I read the article and I was like, so the first contact below the sternum, the second player can come in but only to assist, but has to go around the legs or something like that.
Nah, second player can get him up there, like to wrap the ball, but their first contact's got to be below the sternum. So yeah, it's hard trying to teach it. I mean, a lot of guys, especially myself, like when I played in the midfield, I'd usually just try and wrap the ball. You know, that was sort of one of the things that I used to be quite good at, is I'd just wrap onto the ball and latch onto that ball. But now that it's high tackle, and it's, you know, the contact's not hard. Yeah,
That's a tricky one there, because you gotta actually reward the player for tackling up high, sort of, because you don't want them to offload the ball.
yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
you do that just to stop the offload.
Yeah.
So now that it's
Yeah.
below the sternum, if you're the attacking player, like, how easy it is now to offload? If anything, is it easier for them to do that?
Easier, yeah.
Oh.
But it's it's good because you're trying to get guys to tackle in twos, and it's teaching them a bit more. That first guy is the chop, and then the second guy actually can jackal on the ball. So I can see that side of it being good, but it's hard, man. Hopefully they don't ruin the game, especially a lot of guys that at that school age that sometimes double up off league and rugby. Like, I mean, that league contact's always up high. I mean, they teach you to do that, and then you go and play another game, and you've got to do the complete opposite. Like, it's hard to try and wire a kid's brain to change his style. Yeah. So
Did you do all right in today's game, like just with that rule change?
nah, we probably gave away six high tackles today. Yeah.
And those just be completely excellent ones, eh?
Yeah. There's nothing.
Or
Like,
just-
there's no malice in it. It wasn't a swinging arm or anything. It was just that first contact was high, and it's gonna be tough, man. I hope it doesn't come down to one of those calls like, you know, ruining a game where someone kicks 3 points to win, or you know, get to like a first 15 semi-final, and it's just so hard to judge. Yeah.
All these rule changes around tackling, it's all because of the head knock, eh?
Yeah.
Concussion and all that. That's what they're scared of.
Yeah. I can see that side. I mean, I've been knocked out heaps, so I can see that. But yeah, I think.
But the tricky part is to do it in a way where you don't ruin the game, eh? Like,
yeah. I mean, rugby, it's contact sport. You know, you're gonna get injured. So if you don't want to get injured, go play somewhere else. You know, it's tennis or something that's non-contact. So,
But is this rules like right across the world, or is it just in the first 15?
no, so it's club rugby down. So Prem's down. Yeah,
oh.
yeah. So
It'll be
yeah, it's
interesting,
pretty
eh?
tough. Yeah.
Because like I said before, like England, it's lower.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm
So-
pretty sure there's like hips down or something.
Yeah.
So.
Which is,
I know there's a whole lot of backlash about it. They're all complaining. So.
yeah. You're definitely offload with that.
Yeah,
That rule.
yeah. Yeah, it's hard, guys. But then they watch Super Rugby or internationals, and they emulate these guys, but then they can't tackle like them. So it's it has to be a blanket rule, I reckon.
I wonder if they're like slowly getting these new rules in, starting from the lower grades, eh? So in maybe 5 years time, so you can see it in Super Rugby.
Yeah,
Because the kids are trained to
yeah,
tackle
yeah.
like that. It's
Yeah.
gonna just feed into the pro game.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Hopefully, I don't know if it'll work. I don't know. We'll see. Because rugby, like the kids don't tackle now till they're 8. And so they play ripper up until then, and they reckon it's to try and teach the kids to get low, when they're grabbing the belts. But I don't see that as much benefit to the players. I see kids that just tackle from from 5 or 6 in league. And then when you get to the age 12 or 13, those league boys have been tackling for like 3 or 4 more years, and they're just the contact's better. Yeah, I mean the tackle technique's not the greatest, but that just comes down to coaching, I suppose.
Have you ever been involved with rugby league? In your career?
Yeah, so I played league. Like I hated rugby, and then it wasn't till I played Roller Mills at intermediate, and then went to Kelston, and then we weren't allowed to play league. They said you just can't play league. I was like, oh man, but we had a real good rugby squad, so I was quite happy. I enjoyed that, but I still went. I think under 16s, I went back and played league because we played early on a Saturday morning. It was like 9 o'clock for rugby.
School.
Yeah, school, and then I
still
go
play both.
Yeah, and then I go play league on a Saturday afternoon. So I enjoyed it, but yeah, I actually quite enjoyed going to rugby, just because I played first 5, so there's a lot more thinking or tactical stuff involved. Whereas league, to me, I just don't think there's that much thinking in it. I know there's some plays that they do, but yeah, I see it as a bit more of a crash bash game. But
yeah,
heaps of people are gonna hate me for saying that.
No, I think you're right. I think a lot of people say the same thing. Unless you're in the halves, like 6 or 7. Then
Yeah.
I wish we had a league team back at school when we were coming up, man.
Yeah, we had some good players there. Even the boys that won it, like I was watching Zane's podcast, and there's rattling off the names in that team, and some good players. It's a shame that they don't let them play both. I know they're kind of doing it now at Kelston because they know that, league's got more opportunities for kids. You hear of kids getting NRL contracts at 15 and 16, and when I was at their Condors that year coaching, I went and watched the under 15s the day before, and the whole of the number 1 field, like the dead ball line, was just NRL coaches, just all standing there. Oh, like not coaches, but their recruitment. Like just about every club was just there with their little notepad out, like getting these kids at the age of 15. And yeah, they're just all jumping at it. But even right down to the ages of 10 and 11, they said like the Māori Rugby League tournament. Yeah, they've just got all these rep teams, all these things. So the kids want to be known for having some sort of representative gear in rugby now. There's they've lost Roller Mills, lost Bill McLaren, all that stuff's gone. There's no under 14s comp anymore. The first time you'll experience rep rugby is Auckland under 16s when they have that West, and they don't even have like a North Island tournament. We used to always, when we played 14s and stuff, we never played Harbour, Northland, Waikato, Baplenny, and it was something to achieve or aspire to. But rugby just doesn't have that for kids. I don't know why. It's quite a...
Man, you got a good memory.
Is that because they focus on schools here?
Well, because clubs has lost it. Yeah.
Then it's the 1A comp, high school.
Yeah, that's the target for everyone. There's just a lot of emphasis on that. But I reckon that'll slowly start to fall away with it. No televised games in the Auckland comp this year. It's going to be quite tough.
Bummer,
yeah, it's hard for players, old players and stuff that want to watch it because you can't always get there.
Yeah.
So and they won't even stream it now. So that's a bit of a shame.
But it's funny that of all the principals who did side with it, was only a couple of them, that didn't, because of the televised, the attention on players,
Yeah.
Like if they made mistakes and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like, really? Well, look at social media, man. That's even worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these kids are happy to put themselves out there. So,
how do you, if they were to bring back age group rugby in the clubs, same ages as at high school, and just build that up again, so you can have choice, either play for school or play for club. Like to me that makes sense because it brings more guys into the game, and there's more opportunity for to make it.
Yeah.
Because you not only got if you don't make the first 15, then you can play for your club. And shine there.
Yeah. It'll build up the numbers of the sport, I reckon, because there's a massive gap so club rugby finishes at 13, and then you come back at 21. Like that's 8 years of kids that if you're not at Kelston, you might be at Linfield or Green Bay, and they might only have 2 rugby teams. So, your mates that you played rugby with from the age of 5 up to 13, like, my daughter's been in the same team for 8 or 9 years, and then they'll all split off. So if they go to like Green Bay, which is the local school from suburbs, they could kind of keep most of them together and just play club, 13s, 15s. And the level's probably not going to be as strong as the schools under 15s, but at least those kids are still doing it. You know, not off doing something else. Ram raids or... yeah.
But like you say, it gives kids a choice too. Like, how hard is it to make any like top school first 15? You know, and then sometimes second 15 is not that, you know, not that prestigious or anything like that, and like you probably lose interest.
Disheartening,
yeah.
Yeah, and it needs to. I think it'll bring people back to the club too. You know, if there's games there all day, because with the way it is now, like, you know, at Suburbs we've got 21s, reserves, prems, like 3 senior teams. If they're all away, the club's empty. There's no one there on a Saturday. From junior games finish at probably 10:30, 11 o'clock. So the club's just empty. It's just sitting there. It's a wasted space. You know, if you had under 15s or under 17s or even under 19s, and hey, the level doesn't have to be that good, but you've still got people down there. You still, you know, people using the facilities, and club can stay open, the kitchen can stay open, parents can go have a beer.
I reckon they should scrap the 14s grade, A and B, make it a 15s, and bring back the age group rep teams again. Because the reason why I say that is that I played Bull McLaren, and when you played Roller Mills, I hadn't even met you yet, but I heard from the boys that came to Henderson, oh bro, there's this Palangi guy goes to Glen Eden, fuck, he's solid. So to play under 15s and then get put next to him, like we had our year 10 year A. So when we played year 10, this is Tony Brown, this is Peter Latini, but we were known as the pair like that in the age group because we had played together the year before. So, like I'm saying, remove the 14 grade because you got to have French players there because not everyone will start. And that's the reality. If you're going to put your best team forward, you'd want those players to either play, like, you know, you start, and then if you don't make that team play in the weight restricted teams, because you're still going to get the fierce competitiveness, but the only uneven thing is that you'll be playing against different age groups. Like you might play a 14-year-old, like Ray was on, said he played, third grade, and third grade back in our day, fuck, that team was full of year 13s. So for year 9s to go play with the year 13s, but that's a massive, because the physicality and all of that's way different. Whereas you're playing open, at least the same age, but it's the skill set that defines, you know. I reckon that you always have over the older guys playing in the weight restricted thing, but that's just something that I've seen and remembered over the years. Because even when we got to high school, the guys that you didn't hear about playing Bull McLaren, you saw them at first 15, and then you'd be like, "Fuck, that's why they got picked up." Like a good example is Ed Asatasi. Like he didn't play open weight, but fuck, when you saw him, you heard about this kid. He was like Jericho Tucker. You heard about them, but then when you saw them play, we like, "Fuck, that's why that guy is in the elite." With the elite, you know, just like Ben as well. Ben Atsinga, he was another guy. You heard about him. Then when you saw him play, you'd be like, oh, that's why he's always played up a grade, man. He's like the man. But yeah, bro, you ran that school, bro. You're the man. There's only one Tony Brown at school, is this guy. You're on this, the Joel Burns from Cali, man.
So the party at Tony Brown's house?
And that too, bro.
Yeah, those good days. I missed that, man. Playing back then. It's good.
But you spent the time away from the country, eh? You moved up to the UK for a bit.
Yeah.
To play footy?
Yeah. Took a contract over there, played for a couple of years.
How was that, man?
It's good, man. Like, I never really wasn't much of a traveller. Like, I didn't really want to travel. But yeah, the opportunity came up, and my ex-wife now she always liked to travel. So yeah, we went over there. My son was only 1, and you were there for 2.5 years, and had a kid there, and got another one on the way over there, so we had to come back because it's too expensive. But almost ended up in Dubai. I played a game over there with Trevor Leota.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and like so they do like an Anzac tournament every year, like Australia versus New Zealand. So I played in that game, and then he's like, oh bro, come Dubai and play. He was running like Dubai Wasps or something. So I was gonna go there, but yeah, my partner at the time was not too keen on having a baby in Dubai, so came back.
Man, I heard a story, Brad, and you gotta tell me if it's true or not. But I heard a story that you were locked out of a hotel one night, and one of the boys was there on tour with the Kiwis, and he said he saw you out. Is that a myth or is it a build-up story?
I was locked out. Oh yeah.
Bro, can you tell me the story? Because okay, I've heard the story like 10 times, and someone's always added the GST on it, bro. I'm like, but yeah. So what happened? We out and about, or you just happened to bump into him at a club or something?
Yeah. I just bumped into him at there's like a bar over there, Kiwi bar or Aussie bar called the Redback.
Mm.
Yeah, and he was there for a few of his mates. I
Dubai?
thought he might have been. No, it's in London.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I just caught up with him. It was good to see him actually. I think he might have even been out with like Steve Maddow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was there with all like my English mates, and they thought I was famous as because I knew these guys from. But I got there from the first week because when I first landed there, we played on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday they're like, "Oh, come out and we'll go watch one of the local Premiership games." And I was like, "Oh yeah, all good." And then I was like, "Oh, was any Kiwis playing?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that Sam Tutupu was playing." I was like, "Oh yeah, I know him." And they're like, "Whatever." I was like, "Shut up." And then after the game, I went down on the side, and then like Sam got me to climb over the fence and like gave me a big hug, and all my mates, like obviously being from England, are like, man, you know that guy, like he's famous. And then I think it was like 2 weeks later, we went and watched the Harlequins play, and James Johnston was playing. Yeah, so I went down and like having yarn to James, and yeah, all my mates were like, "Man, New Zealand's so small, you know everyone over there." It's like, you know, we All Blacks walk down the road, and it's just like, "Hey, mate." It's quite funny.
So what year was this when you went over to the UK?
2009. Yeah, came back into 2011.
2009.
Yeah.
And who were you playing for over there? Who was the...
Just a club in Ruislip, like London 1. Yeah, it was not a high level, bro. It's just a way to get overseas, really. They paid for all my stuff, so.
But that's been the
Bro,
pool
enjoyed it.
for a lot of people from here that play rugby union, but it's sort of like the heights of playing rugby union is playing in Super Rugby, making All Blacks. But then the alternative is, you get these contracts overseas, Japan, France, England, Ireland, and you can make a good living doing that there.
Yeah, so many opportunities now for kids, it's heaps.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I sort of came to the realisation that I wasn't going to make it. I had a year down in Palmy, down in Manor 2, went down, had a club rugby season down there, and was on the fringe squad there, then came back, but then had my first son, so family comes first, mate. Rugby's just a pipe dream.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good though. I remember when I was in England, like, it'll always probably be one of my best ever rugby memories was I played in a game just after they had might have been the Christchurch earthquakes, and they had those real bad Brisbane floods.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they organised this charity game, and I got a phone call from someone, I can't remember, come play in this game. And I was like, oh yeah, and they said, oh, it's a fundraiser, like it's going to be quite a big event. Didn't realise I turned up to the game, and then George Smith walks in, and Jerry Collins, and the Tuilangis all walking there, and then so yeah, we ended up playing a charity game. It's quite an awesome game, and I'll never forget making a tackle with George Smith. I ended up playing on the Aussie team. It's probably because I was white. Me and George Smith tackled Jerry Collins, and like he got him low, and then I got up and like I ripped the ball off, and then I was about to take off my boots. I'm retiring on that, like my best moment there. I was like, yeah,
Man.
yeah, that was good, man.
So that club you played for in England, what sort of status is it? Like,
Oh no, it's down, bro. Like League 5 or something.
Oh.
It was more just just a bit of fun there. Like they wouldn't be able to compete with the Auckland clubs here, so it was more just a way to travel. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Was there any other guys from other countries there?
Yeah, so when I
team you
turned up in my team, we had a mate of mine, from Massey. Yeah, I didn't even know, but he was there. We had a couple of other Kiwis, guy from Christchurch, guy from Dunedin. Yeah, there's quite a few floating around over there. Guys, you sort of use it as a way of an OE, because they pay for all your flights, and I think I was getting about £100 a game. So it's just a bit of beer money on the weekends, and work a few days a week. It was good. Good way to travel, but yeah, had to come home and be an adult. Yeah. So yeah.
Do you have any goals like set for your boys that you have for the season?
First 15?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, definitely top 4 is a goal. 100%. Got to start there, because I mean, you look at all the first 15s. I think every year any one of those top 4s can win it on their day. Yeah. So I think just to get to top 4, you're in the mix, and then from there it's just two good games away from a title. So yeah, just definitely got to get through that. I think the draw's quite good in our favour this year. So we've sort of got
home games.
Yeah, we've got a couple of harder games, and then we've got a bit of a run of easy games, and then we sort of finish with 3 pretty tough games. I think 2 or maybe even all 3 of them are at home. So we got like St. Peter's, I think St. Kitts, and I can't remember what this is. Sort of, maybe Sacred Heart. There's the last 3 games are real tough games. So for us, it'll be like every week's kind of a quarterfinal, you know. So hopefully, it can just give those boys that high pressure situations before we get to it, which will be good. So
it's good to see you back in that space, bro. Because we played grammar, and I looked over at the coach's box and I saw Rick.
yeah,
But I had to laugh. We never said hello to him, but I just said to him, "How much of your squad's coming back?" No shit, he says to me, "Bro, on my 26, I got 23, 24 at best coming back for the next 2 seasons." And I was like, "Bro, that's mean." But for you to say, "Oh, bro, I'm part of the coaching staff." And I asked him had he had seen you up and down. I think you were there fundraising for your boys' team, or they're doing the raffles and stuff, or the barbecue. But yeah, he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to coming back or actually having news over there. Because it'll be a home game over there for them."
Yep, yeah, it's at Grandma, yeah.
So that's going to be massive,
Yeah, well, when they sort of offered me or asked me to do the job, I was doing a job at electrical work at DJ Forbes' house. So I sort of had a bit of a yarn with him about how he juggles, you know, like his work. And so obviously like Willie and Rickards and that, they're teachers or they're at the school full time. So I sort of had a yarn to DJ about it and how much of a commitment it is. And then when I decided, I texted him and said, "Yeah, send me all your guys' moves because I know you're Kelston at heart, so let us win."
Because he's over there assisting.
Yeah, so he does the forwards for Auckland Grammar. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, he did that last year, but he was still travelling with his role. But he's got a new gig now. So yeah,
It should be a good game, eh? It'd be a good time for you to come out with your boy, see what the hype is all about, eh? I just tell all the old boys, all these patch members to stand in the end goal to stop the crowd from coming on, in case there's another fight.
yeah. Well, I was in England when that game happened. I think I'm sure I was in England.
Oh,
About
yeah.
2009, that fight when that fight happened at Grammar.
Fuck, I can't remember what year it is, but I just
Yeah.
remember being bored, man.
Yeah,
I was like, what the hell's that?
it happens every week down at Newland Stags, probably. It just doesn't make the paper. Actually, I shouldn't say that because it happened at Suburbs a few years ago, didn't it?
Oh, did
They
it?
played Otahu.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
I think it was like a reserves final a few years ago, yeah. I remember some lady getting hit with an umbrella.
What?
Yeah. and then we had the other one at Suburbs a couple of years ago where we had a big fight in amongst our own team.
Damn. Bring back the biff.
Yeah. So we're still calling mate.
But how's it been since you've been back, like from, because that was a while ago, but did it feel like you hadn't been away from home, or?
Nah, like I just come straight back in there and go to the bottle shop in Gleneden and you see someone, they're like, "Hey, how have you been?" "Yeah, I've been overseas for like 3 years." But, you know, yeah, it's just like nothing happened. But, yeah. Especially with social media though, everyone knows what you're doing there.
Yeah.
I took a break from it for like a year. It was good, man. I could just shut down all my socials and I found that when I seen people, I actually got to have a proper, deeper, meaningful conversation about what I was doing or what they were doing. Because most people now, when you see them, you kind of brush over what everyone's doing because you know. So you ask them because it's just the thing to do. Like, "Oh, how you been?" And, you know, for Lydia, "Oh, yeah, just been cutting here." You're like, "Oh, yeah, I know that." So you don't really actually listen to what they're saying. Like, I'm not saying I do that to you, but yeah. So you know, when you don't have social media, like if I was to catch up with Lydia, I don't know what he's been doing for the last 6 months. So when he tells me what he's been doing, I'm actively listening because I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right. That's good." Yeah, I don't just go, "Oh yeah, I know."
That's such a good point because, you know, social media these days, like, people probably forgotten that kind of thing, eh?
Yeah.
It's not appreciated.
Well, it's just shallow conversation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're telling you something you already know, so you just sort of listen to, and you know, it's good when you're actively listening and you're actually interested.
Man, I gotta give you props and flowers, bro, because there was a time in my life that I didn't realize I was going through a lot, and on the weekends we used to drink quite a lot, and like from a young age, by the way. But we were putting in the work because I'd have at least a class every day with Joe, because we're in the academy in the institute. On top of that, we played in the same team. So the way I used to look at it is that, bro, I shouldn't moan because Joel's doing it as well. Like, he wasn't the only one doing it, and I think we sort of had each other to go through it. And like, if it was like, "Oh man, I feel like having a drink," And he'd be like, "Oh, I'll be king." Like, if he can come to my house, like that was like an outlet. It was like it was an outlet because thinking about it, if you train like first thing before school, and you had the class and you had fitness, and then you had training after school, you times that by 5, not including the game. And this guy played touch. So while he was doing touch, I was either doing athletics or doing something else. But that's a lot on the body, and I think the mental side of it is like, fuck this. Because you only have like one day off, which was Sundays. But then even on Sundays, this guy was kicking goals. I was trying to practice in case, we need a backup cooker. But that's the life of a kid trying to make it as a rugby player, right? And like, do you think that this generation's putting in the work that we did? Because it feels like you can sort of see the way they are, I think. That they didn't work as hard.
Yeah, I reckon more so, bro. And there's more knowledge out there through social media and stuff that the kids can see other kids training. When we used to talk about it, like, you don't know what they're doing. So when you're out running, that guy's playing PlayStation, but you don't know. Now kids know what other kids are doing. Yeah, they're always posting it. So, and there's a lot of emphasis around nutrition. Like kids know. I remember when we were like Auckland under 14s, and someone came in and just telling us about like nutrition. She's like, if you eat a pie, just peel the lid off it, and then like it's healthier. She was like always throwing away the lid of my pie.
Shout out to Nicky Hardy.
Now, like, my son doesn't even look at pies. He's really tuned in with all that, and so is that whole group there at his team. They all sort of encourage each other, and
like thinking about it, like appreciate them. The Stars drinks, the fucking tank loaves, man, the pies, like literally eating like that during the week, as well as trying to train. It's like it's probably not the best thing,
But some kids are still doing that, but just because of the cost of stuff, man. Like, Bro, I bought lettuce the other day, like $6 for a lettuce. And I'm like, man, I can go get one of those Stars drinks for like 90 cents, a Big Ben pie for like $1.50, and a tank loaf for $2, and there's your feed.
Shout out to Hertha and Ms. Ditch, man, for buying us hot chips, or telling us to all chip in for hot chips the Friday before our game.
I went down, we played Hastings a couple of weeks ago. Down in Taupo, we drove down and met them, and bumped into Sturche.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's good, man. We had like a big chat after the game, like all teams, and he's like, I remember, I taught him all he knew of touches. Yeah, it's good to see him, man. He still looks good. Yeah,
because he had a bit of a health scare, eh?
Yeah.
Going through his chemo and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was hoping to see him. That's like you're saying with that brotherhood. We got that with those old teachers, We always bump in. Like, I always go to watch Condors if I'm not, involved anyway. Catch off like Hofum and Sturch when we see him. That's good, man.
Gull was talking about Sturch when he went down to Hastings to watch his nephew, and he said the teacher whistled, and then he looked, and he did the K, and then Sturch was looking at him. He was like, "Hey, fuck you! You're not arrested. You're not in jail. Get on here, mate."
It's interesting about how you're talking about the kids, how they train and that, because we're talking about social media before, and that's probably the main thing why they're probably training hard, because they can see most of it. Because I remember when I was growing up, because I was into basketball, but there was nothing about NBA unless you watched TV3 on a Saturday night, and that was it. There was no internet back when I was in high school. But, nowadays you can see everything, like YouTube and all the trainings and all that.
We just knew basketball players' names because we buy a pack of cards.
Yeah, cards.
Just read the stats off the back.
Exactly, So.
But I want to know, like, how much of this generation, like, because when we got up to no good, like, let's be honest, Joe, like, we ain't saints, man. Like, we went through, like, when I think about school, bro, it was hard, like, it was a struggle. Like, I think, people share about, like, the influence that social media has on kids and how they think. But the pressures I felt like I had at school was more like my family, like, all the stuff that they were going through, like, health-wise. So, like, I appreciate being able to lean on you and being able to come and get on the piss of you, because to me, that was the escape from my reality when I was at school. But the fact that we'd get to play each other, then it was like even better, because then the drinks tasted better when we played. Like, especially because straight up, we played what both years and 15s. You couldn't even lift your hand up and say that's how many games we lost because we didn't lose many, eh?
No, maybe we lose the final when we were year 9.
Yeah, just that one final.
I think that was about it.
And we were like on a street. So like, bro, did you played seconds with us? With Fluffy?
Yeah.
How did you feel that year
Yeah.
felt? Like losing?
Yeah, it was
Foreign,
weird
eh?
because that year, like I was in the first 15 squad. So when I had to go play seconds, like looking back, like my attitude was but shit then. Like that was kind of my opportunity to really make something. But I used to sulk a bit, you know, when I'd go get put out of that first squad. But I think that was just because I got put in there young, and I just expected to be part of it. But we had such a good team then, like. So yeah, I used to, and I try and use that with my players now. Like, don't look at it as a negative. Like, you know, make it a positive. Make it, you know, make it to your advantage. You're on the field. You've got opportunity to showcase what you've got. So I used to come down. I was playing seconds. I wasn't really in it. I used to just be a bit.
Yeah. I remember feeling like when we lost, and I remember jinxing it. I don't know if I jinxed it, but I remember Athens is like, I have never come to Kings and lost. Fuck, every time I went over to Kings, fuck, we lost, man. Even when I was we played 16s, eh? Like, fucking get to Kings and we'd fucking get our shit handed to us. I was like, fuck, this guy cursed us, eh?
Mine was Mags, bro.
Oh, Mags.
Mags used to always lose to Mags for some reason. This is our bogey team. Even when they were like 6 on the table and we were first, Mags would just somehow get us, eh?
Oh, that's the definition of a bogey team.
Yeah.
If you're first, then you lose to 6 all the time.
Yeah, always did. Yeah,
But even like because that era you would have been in that squad too, but they just happened to be winning. It was like the Wednesday game. They did have the Wednesday game, and they just rearrange their team just to either mark up on Sam or rearrange their team to mark up on certain players. Like that's hard, man. Like especially when you got guys who are monsters. Like shut down your key players because they're like guarding up on them. But do you have any memorable games from school or like your club level?
Memorable games?
Yeah, memorable games.
One of my best years was like under 15s when I played at Suburbs. So that was when they had club rugby. So we'd play under 15s in the morning.
Oh, yes.
Remember yes. You didn't play club A?
Nah, the Kelston Boys.
Yeah, so there was it was funny, there was like Kelston were the top team and Suburbs were the other top team. And all the Kelston team went to Kelston, except for me. And then all the Suburbs kids went to Avondale, except for Fatu the lock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mickey played in your team, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, we had Mickey, yeah. So we used to always talk shit all week about it, and we went through that year. But that Suburbs team, like looking back, we were amazing. We went through the whole season, and the only game we lost was the final. But we had like our points for and against was like 700 and something, and against was 12. So going into the final, we had only had one penalty kicked against us all year, and then we had beaten Kelston in the semi, but it was like 1 versus 2, and then they got a life, and then they came back at us in the final. And then our team was real arrogant. Like I remember I had dreadlocks back then, when I like painted my dreadlocks like one red, one blue. I think I've even ever done that like probably 2 or 3 times. I might have done it once for touch at nationals, like dyed my hair or done something. But every time I've done it, we've lost. So now I'm like, man, just be humble, bro. Just play the game first, then celebrate after. Just don't be cocky. But yeah, we ended up losing that final 9-8. But I got not kicked in the face, but got smacked in the face early on and like split my mouth, and I had to go and sit in the change rooms and just listen to it. I couldn't bring myself to go on and watch it. And then we lost. That was hard. But that was a good year. Yeah, I enjoyed that. We had heaps of good trips away, eh?
Too many, I think,
eh? Always go back to the Gold Coast trip we went.
I didn't go on that trip. I stayed home.
I always tell all the kids, because the under 15s went with the first 15, and I think it was like my 17th birthday over there. And then, do you remember Chance, the lock?
Yeah,
he's a bit of a troublemaker, and he's like, bro, we should get like a stripper for your birthday. So we were in the Gold Coast, and so I got the paper and like called this lady, and I was like, oh, can you come to our room and And she came up and then we're like, "Bro, how can we like make some money? Because like $200. So we asked all the under 15s like, "Will you come in and watch?" And charge them $10 each.
You can name drop some of these guys. They've been on this pod.
I know someone that got lots of titties in his face. And shout out to Tushan. But she came in and was like 20, 15-year-olds all sat along the couch. Oh, it's good, man. That was one memory I always carry. I wonder if that stuff still happens with the young kids.
Nah, they think
sorry,
that
bro,
shit's
all
got
those
the balls to do
Christian-
stuff like that.
Yeah, all those poor Christian kids. But yeah, I was like, oh, come on. But the coaches were never around, eh?
From
Like,
what I heard, apparently they were playing up too, eh?
Yeah.
I had some good stories there when everyone came back. I was like, damn, lucky I didn't go, man. Fuck, that would have been ugly.
So I always remember like touch nationals was always at the end of the year.
Mm.
So I think the teachers had sort of clicked off. But after the last day, whether we won or lost, like the coaches would all say, all right, you can all go get like one box of beers each. Because I was playing touch when I was like, seniors when I was like year 10. So I was only like 15. I was drinking with the older boys. I thought I was the man. But the coaches just gone. It's like school holidays. They used to get up to mischief. That's good. Rotorua, all your Western Heights tournaments.
Bro. I'm gonna say it, man, because you're on here. You know, I'm not talking smack, but as a under 15s, there was an initiation, and you had to either pick one or two challenges. And one of the challenges, so at the time, I don't want to say Jagger's name because it was Jagger Toto and Sione Whenua. These guys, they weren't playing, but they were just there. So, you know, as the greatest squad goes down, first and seconds and under 15s, you travel together. So we get down to this tournament. But the initiation is like you have to, because they haven't seen you play. Because it's just under 15s trying against each other. So they haven't seen you play, but they want to know who, like what kind of players are coming into the space sort of thing. So the challenge is, Jagger's going to put his hand behind his back. He's got to hold a pillar in his hand. Sione's going to do the same. And he's going to go, okay, who hasn't had the initiation? This guy, instead of taking a dare or a challenge, he goes, sweet, I'll get up. This guy goes 2 minutes. Okay, but you're not allowed to punch the face. This guy goes 2 minutes, man. He's still standing. This guy got his props that day. It was like, bro, you're the man. And it was like, those are the sort of players you want on your team. When I got my initiation, bro, it was disgusting. It was,
Whatever.
it's borderline pretty much what happens at Wesley, almost.
Oh.
Yeah, man. And the saddest part about it is that, like, Jagger and that they clocked off, because this guy and two other boys would have been Bobby and John, had to stand. And it's like, some of the guys are like, oh, that's sad, man. Like, that's abuse, like, these literally guys standing there, like, getting a beating, but with a pillow over their hand, you know? But this guy lasted, John, Bobby. But I didn't want that. I was like, nah, man, I'm going to get knocked out. See, right there. By that time, they had clocked off, and Missy Papa told me, this is your dad. And I was like, damn, fuck, guy, sweet. Give it to me, man. And he said that I got to pummel someone. Ooh, this is dry hump. You got to dry hump someone. And he chose the biggest guy in our team, and it was one of the props, man. I was like, fuck this, bro. It was Ty. I had to do Ty. Bro, Ty, fuck, he was massive,
Yeah.
He was massive, man. So I had to do it. I had to do the... Yeah, man, I grew some balls that night. It's ugly, But that thing carried on, like, after those guys had moved on. Like, we had to do it, you know? Because the older boys, they went into the first, seconds, and they will ask us when we went back the following year, have these guys been initiated? I was like, fuck.
I was just making sure that
Yeah, that the tradition's carrying on, man. But fuck, yeah, that was a blast from the past, bro. These red road trips,
Oh, good, man. Used to enjoy this. Get down and mix it with, New Plymouth girls or there.
Yeah, man. It's like, who does that, You know, raging hormones as kids, bro. Put them in a bloody, like a backpackers with all these other girl schools. But there's some gyms there, just knocking on the door twice. Just say your names, I'm John.
It's Vasa.
Damn. Far out, man. Straight up, we'll spread the stories, man.
There's heaps of stories on there.
Yeah, especially from that trip.
That was early on in the year too. It used to be like February.
Mm.
Yeah, so good team bonding, man.
Yeah.
Team bonding.
But now I'll never forget that, bro, when you chose to throw hands with Sean and Jagger. I was like, bro, this guy's got big balls, man. Especially because they're new Palangi in our team, man. Fuck. Because those two are massive, bro. Like, literally, like, these are like grown men, man.
Mm.
That's some funny shit, man. 2 minutes starting now.
So you've been playing for a long time. Is your family a rugby family?
No, not really. Like my granddad is.
Mm.
He's played at Suburbs for about 30 odd years. But nah, my mum and that's not into it. My uncle's wrestlers. But yeah, family's not really into rugby. Yeah.
You just went that way when you were young?
Yeah, I don't know what is it? Because, like, yeah, my dad's right into his cars and, like, fixing cars and stuff, so, yeah, he was always wanting me to go work and stuff, but I'd rather go to the park and just kick a ball around, yeah. I don't know what it was, but just loved that side of it, eh? Love being outside of a ball. Just kicking around, learning new ways. And I used to always read, like, books and stuff when I was younger about players. You know, autobiographies probably weren't that common back then, but I've read quite a few good ones when I was younger. Like Andrew Johns and the way that they used to play, like just to learn the bounce of the ball and different things like that. You know, get a bucket of soapy water and learn to play off a slippery ball. And I mean, back then they had the old leather balls and stuff as well, so it's a bit harder. But
who knew you say that? Like, it tells me, you know, when we talk about the kids these days that train, but do the extra things, like you reading a book to know what it's like to kick from the experts, you know, for those guys like Andrew Johns and that. You know, that's the extra thing that some kids go more than others, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, those guys have been there and done it, eh? You know, there's a reason that they're elite. I mean, me and you played with how many guys that you look back now could have gone on but didn't. There's I mean, I believe a lot of it's fate and doors open at the right time for right people. I mean, was that Toyava that just played in the first 15 game and then, you know, 6 months later he's in All Black?
Yeah, bro. Crazy.
So it's just right place, right time. There's so many talented kids in New Zealand, man. It's unreal.
That's probably why those NRL scouts come down here.
Yeah.
Because they know the talent's here, a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And we always hear stories about them taking the kids when they're young and didn't even hear of them until they play for someone over there in Sydney or Brisbane, you know?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's heaps of talented kids. See it now, like I'm coaching in the intermediate space. You see so many good players.
You can see it early, yeah. You like, obviously, because your boys come up through intermediate. Like, you naturally see that, eh? Like, do you ever do the approach the parent and go, oh, what high school are you going to? Secretly, without, you know?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Because when I coached the Roller Mills, the last ever Roller Mills tournament, I took the West team.
Yeah.
And, and there was a lot of interest in trying to get kids to go to Kelston. So now I can see from that group, there's about 4 from our West Roller Mills that went there. But it's all the central schools back then were just killing it with the kids, eh? Like St. Peter's and...
Yeah.
And because St. Peter's have an intermediate school, like they play in all those tournaments, so they can already recruit. You know, they're there for that reason, so they can see what talent's around. So they've kind of got a bit of a head start. But
do you reckon that's killing the rugby sort of standards and like, you know, like how you go school local, just stay local? Like, do you reckon it's killing the competitions?
Yeah, definitely. It is taking all those kids to those central schools. It's not ideal because there's so much talent out west. Like, yeah, that's crazy. So, but you see a lot of it now. Like that under 14s group at Kelston this year. There's heaps of players, real good, big boys. You know, talents that probably in the past, you know, there's a squad of say 35. Probably in the past, 10 of those kids would have gone elsewhere. So now it's good to see them, you know, pick local.
I heard it's a group of Sasha's boys from Stags too, eh?
Yep.
Coming to that space.
Yep. Yeah.
Solid, eh?
Yeah, no, it's good. Zane's bringing a whole lot of boys, you know, with his sort of pathways in his academy, so it's really good, man. It's good. So it's good to see them aspire to it. You know, I think having Kelston won, it sort of shows that, you know, the proof in the pudding. You know, they're doing something right to be competing with all those top schools. So, and that's why St. Kitts and that are not that good anymore, because no more scholarships there.
Yeah, that was on schools that got blasted in the paper.
Yeah.
Before their rugby scholarships.
Yeah. Well,
But it does kill the game the way, like the poaching and offering, like especially within the Auckland Cup, but even like up and down the country ones, like if someone's moved to Hamilton and they're trying to poach from there, it's like, man, it's ridiculous.
I think they tried to say that was the reason why they took the Sky coverage off the A1 comp, because they had their schools on TV. You know, they're like incentive for them to get.
It's only the Auckland schools that aren't on the way, so you still watch all the Centrals.
Oh yeah,
yeah, you still watch all the Hamilton games and all that. So
yeah, because I think what is it? Yeah, because I'm not gonna say their school names, but certain schools have been using the highlight reels. Like, and if you can imagine how many of those boys straight out of First 15 rugby ended up playing for the Blues or in Super Rugby itself, can use it as a highlight reel and make it attractive for the boys and the parents to go to their school. So that's why they're sort of like, it's probably not a good thing, eh?
Yeah. They've cracked down on all that school jumping the way with the stand down periods and stuff now.
Yeah,
it's actually really, it's worked out well, I reckon. It's worked out really well.
But then it puts a microscope over the whole school zoning. Because there's school zoning for a reason. Yeah. And then you get kids going from everywhere going to that school. Yeah. Just to play rugby or rugby league or almost the rugby anyway. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't have any. I had a problem with. I didn't have any problem with the Auckland 1A comp being on Sky TV. So I thought it was great for the kids. Get exposure.
Definitely.
Like, I know that schools get exposure, but it's more about the kids.
Yeah. I mean, like my son wants to be on TV, so his cousins and Taupo can watch him. And stuff like that. But yeah, I can see both sides to it, I suppose. Pressure on kids, because there's a lot of pressure on them, not just on the field, but going around.
Do you wish they televised our games back in the day?
Yeah, I still go through the Sky archives and try and find some of my old games. Like I remember when we played Touch Nationals, it used to always be on Sky, only the final. So I was like, oh man, go back and try and find it, but it's too old, bro. It's probably in black and white.
It's probably still on PAL.
It's good, man.
What about your ties to suburbs? Like, they haven't tried to make you an RDO or anything?
No, I have. Yeah, I've wanted to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have approached the club. I actually sort of spoke to them recently, but they just don't have the money to do that. Like the other clubs do. I'm trying to. It'd be ideal for me because all my kids play. My daughter's there playing, so I'm always at those school tournaments and stuff.
Yeah. And
then now in the high schools can try and use it as a bit of a recruitment stuff. But I just I talk about the club when I can, where I can, and hopefully that it gets back up. But it's not just suburbs that's dying. It's clubs everywhere. It's folding. I see even like East Tamaki, they did quite well last year in the Premier grade, and they just folded this year. No Premier team. It was a shame. That's why I was earlier saying about having those age grade teams. You probably find that group of those kids will go through and carry on, because from first 15, not too many are going to under 21s. They sort of shop around, or they go to an apprenticeship, or they go move over. But if you've got those kids that just play rugby, they'll end up sort of going through, and they might end up being good. There's a couple, I think, when they named our starting team for suburbs this week, they put up the team sheet and the schools that they're from. And I think we had like 6 kids from like Avondale and 3 or 4 from Green Bay. So I mean, they obviously weren't playing at a high level at the age of 19 or 20, but now they're playing prems, and our team this week's pretty good. So
nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids that could be caught through those grades there.
Yeah, I've always felt the importance of schools being tied to a club, because it makes the club level, sort of thing good. And it does bring people to the club to watch as well, watch the games. Because I felt an interest, I think probably 2 or 3 seasons ago, and then every season after that, whenever the local derbies was happening down at Wada, it was good to see the Waitek Wada game, and then the suburbs game as well. Like, these are the only club games that I'll try and get to and watch, especially because there's a good group of Kelston kids playing for Wada, and then a handful and the other teams as well.
Yeah, be good to have those players there at club level. Because a lot of kids, like I said, from 13 to 21, they don't really know what they want at 13. And then at intermediate, they all go to different high schools. And then they make, your core friend group, you sort of make from the age of like 15 to 18. And then if you've got one influential kid who's, I'm going to Ponsonby, they all follow him. Everyone goes. And, we've got sort of 6 or 7 family kids like around my son's age that have grown up suburbs juniors, and they're all at different schools. And like I'm trying to propose to the club, like let's do like a under 17s or under 18s tour, like get them together and take them away, and then they can create that sort of friendship, that bond, that group, and then try and bring them back into a under 20s. Like, we'll get this team back together in 2 years, or under 20s or under 21s, and just try and strengthen that catchment, and instead of letting everyone just go, everyone just wants to chase titles or stuff like that. So
that actually work, eh?
I reckon
that blueprint does sort of work, I feel.
Yeah.
Because at any given time you might be playing senior football somewhere, then that a couple of guys, 3, 4 guys, and then they all playing back at the club again. Everyone wants to go back for that reason.
Yep.
Because you've been on a trip together, know how they play, and it just fits.
Yeah. That's happened a bit with suburbs this year. We had a couple of good wins, and then a couple of boys have come back, and then now there's sort of 6 boys back from our 2016-2017 era when we won it. So it's good, man. And then have some good results, and then hopefully some guys from Kelson will go there, school leavers, because our last one was probably 3 years ago that we got one of the school leavers, and Kelson's just down the road. So why aren't we getting any of those players?
Do you know if he's playing Liston this year? Is he playing them at school? Or?
No, I think Liston's away. All my friends. Yeah.
Bro, I gotta mention this, man, because I've said it in previous years, man, that they have the Lemalu Cup sitting in the cabinet, and I've said this, bro, for the last 3 years. Every time we've had the commission meetings, and I've said, man, if you want to put an event together, and I said on here. First, Charles, breaking news. If they since they don't have that tournament anymore, because no one wants to play Kelston pre-season, they should put the Lemalu Cup up against Liston and play that game at Sturgis Park. That way, any old boys that want to hang around will go to the club and get on the bus. Those Liston boys will do the same. They'll, all the old boys will show up.
Yeah.
And because you got a guy like DJ, Johnny, and that have got ties to both schools. Yeah. That can be a sort of event we can go, we're each looking at going to play senior footy. Because you can go, you can sort of just come in and invite the other clubs to come in and watch. Even if you had another grade, like the 21s. Yeah. Somewhere in Waitek or Waitek in Waitemata. It'd just be a good sort of fixture. But not make that game the main game possibly. Or if the seniors are playing away, make it the main game. Because it'll draw so many numbers, man. And it'll bring a lot more attention to that sort of style of footy, because there is a big difference between this. I'm not saying that they're not great, but the way they play footy is the way Kelston's always played it.
What about putting a spin on that and having it Kelston versus Mags at suburbs? Because Nutty's son's at Mags, eh?
Oh, bro, they'd even go even better, man.
So it's even yeah.
But I mean, what I see is like that. I think it's Tony. He put the cup up, but it's for it to just sit on the cabinet and then not have a tournament to play for, it's why not do that? But that Max game would be bloody awesome. That'd be a bloody good idea. I mean, you got enough people in certain places. I know Pat's training the 21s. Suri's the coach. It's these guys just don't have the know-how just to go pick up the phone or just go see them at the pub and say, bro, let's make this happen. Yeah. Too many guys talking about shit and not getting shit done.
It's a good idea, man. It's a good idea. What I'm hearing you guys talk about, like connecting the school connecting schools back to a rugby club and having these kind of games, because you are bringing the old boys back to support. You're gonna have a big crowd there.
Yeah.
When something is on the line and these stakes are high, and that's what I think about when I think about the sports culture in New Zealand. That's what we lack. We lack these sporting events. Like, we don't have any more events, or we don't have any events. We just have games we watch, and that's it. Like, we don't have an event where, like, say the last big sporting event that was successful in New Zealand was the Wellington Sevens, when you're allowed to have alcohol in the stands. And look at that kind of atmosphere they had. And then some reason they said, "Oh no, we ban alcohol," and then it died because no one wants to go. The event's gone now, and now we don't have any more sevens in New Zealand now. It's gone. So I think other countries do it very well, like America with their sporting events. They make events like Super Bowl, and all those, all the bars are full. Everyone's in the NFL jerseys supporting their teams. The fans in America are so fanatical. You look at it on TV and you think, wow, you just want to be there. Like Australia has it too with the NRL. Those fans in the NRL are crazy over there. Like over here, you don't see them as much, and I think because the passion is very low. When it comes to All Blacks, we're all passionate All Blacks, but that's it. So Super Rugby's there. Yeah, we're passionate for our teams, but it's not that hyped. It's not that hyped. But I think it all has to start I think if we want to create a sports culture, I think it has to start at the schools. And having these kind of events is a good start to make that happen. It's like to build that sort of tribalism.
Yeah. With those events not being that successful in New Zealand, I think it's just marketed at the wrong people. Like, your real sports enthusiasts some of them will go to the game, but you need to make it attractive for the people that don't know much about the game. But they're like, what's in it for me? So the wives, the girlfriends, and the partners that don't know much about the game, but they just want to be there because everyone's there, right? So do something that brings them there, and everyone will follow. And then all of a sudden, once it's busy, it's the place to be. But at the moment, like with sporting events, I went to the Blues game recently, and there was more people probably watching Suburbs on a Saturday. Like,
well, here's an example for a kid. Here's an example. Like, we've been trying to do these sort of things in the school, and there's always just certain people that just stop it from happening. Like 2 or 3 years ago, we were supposed to have a transformer truck parked at the between the court and the field. There was supposed to be an old boys live band playing on the stage while we invited the food trucks. That covers entertainment. There's no silent spots. That creates a vibe for the community. We invited the intermediate school to come perform their Pacifica group, and if the Kelston could to get their Samoan group or even a few boys to perform. This was like one thing ticking off more than 6 things to attract, like the fundraisers for the 15s traveling, the first 15, and a potential the intermediates, the enrollment start. This game was supposed to align with all of that, and it got thrown out at the last minute, like say the day before, if not that morning of the event, canned. Like, to me, it's like, bro, when people go out of their way to set something up like that, it's gonna benefit the school and all these people trying to get into the school, because if you got the mums and they don't want to watch the game because they didn't know any of the boys playing, they'll go eat at the food trucks. Like, a percentage of that will come back to the school. But just have like one person just to say, oh nah, it's not happening. But that's why a lot of old boys sort of wash their hands off and go, oh, fuck it. We've been trying to help, but when it gets pushed away, it's like, man.
And you're right about creating a sports event that will attract non-sports people. Because one of the Sevens was a perfect example of that. Because everyone went there to get drunk and dress up and have a party. As soon as they stopped the alcohol, then no one came to the games, and maybe the real Sevens, people that into Sevens were at the games. And there's empty seats everywhere. But 90% of those fans during the Wellington Sevens probably not there for the rugby, there for the atmosphere.
for the
know?
party.
But she used to piss me off because I'd always want to get tickets and like sold out in 7 minutes, and then I see on Facebook all the people that are going. I'm like, you know nothing about rugby, and then they come back and they're like, oh no, I didn't watch any games. I spent all the time in the the concourse and the thing. Yeah.
But see, imagine if the Blues games were like that every time they have the home game. Like in America and the NFL they have the tailgating, where there's barbecues and drinking outside in the car park. And they allow it.
Yeah, we need something like that, man. Big time.
I reckon the Blues need to move like to a smaller venue. So move to like Trust Stadium, and then have the number 2 field set up with like the food trucks and some stuff for the kids, like a Ferris wheel, and like what you're saying about the school stuff, man. That'd be good because there's so many guys around our sort of age of younger kids. Like I want to go watch the first 15, but a couple of my kids won't sit there for 2 hours and watch a game. They want to go walk to the dairy or do something. But if there's something there for them, then we can be actively involved. Our kids are looked after or busy, and then it's like a family event. It's everyone will go.
When it comes to like supporting your local, it needs to be a family event. That's why rugby clubs are better for it, because there's always a lounge where kids hang out, watch movies, the bar's open. And then the toilets are inside the club. It's dry inside the club. It's got a space for everyone. Only the diehards are gonna be drinking the piss from the boot of the car watching the game while it's hailing. It's like it's. But yeah, man, I think it's just certain individuals, they just need to be mindful. Like, don't worry about what worry about what you need to worry about, but they worry about the bigger picture. Like, because if it doesn't affect you directly, you don't need to worry about it. But yeah, it's just sad when you try and help and give suggestions and people throw it back at you like, oh nah, it probably won't work.
Yeah, you don't know if you don't try it, right?
Exactly, man. But that's why I'm happy you're in the space, because we might be pushing towards the Malu Cup defending, defended against Mags and Liston, bro.
Yeah, that'd be good. What can I say? We just played Mags this week at Suburbs, actually. Yeah, well, the second 15 did. Yeah, that was quite good because Kelston have always sort of had a bit of a thing where they don't like to play other Auckland schools. And vice versa, like a lot of Auckland schools don't like to play each other pre-season. I don't know what it is, but for me, like, test yourself against the best. I don't know why you don't. We used to do it lots. So yeah, it'd be good to bring something like that back. Could have it as like a build up to the best of the West, like the Suburbs Waitemata game or something. Because there's always good crowds at that. Yeah.
But that's the thing, man. It's like now that you're in that space, like, there's hope. There's a bit of hope. And Sal's got the seconds. There's like a bit more hope. But yeah, like if it can be done while Zane brings that group up, it'll be, at least we know, but we gave it a go, giving it a try, and this is what we know comes out of it.
That's important, I think it needs to be done, because I think the state of rugby union in New Zealand, especially in the professional level, like Super Rugby.
We already said it.
Super Rugby
we
Pacific.
already said it. Like, oh, man.
I don't know what happened to it, but it's not as great anymore. The competition as a whole, the Super Rugby Pacific, and I don't know if it's it all started when South Africa left. So, and Australian teams, they're not that great, and New Zealand teams, it's better watching games when they play each other. When you have games like Crusaders versus Melbourne Rebels, you're like, oh, turn it over.
I've always thought they should do away with Super Rugby and bring back just the NPC.
Oh yeah,
just the teams, but strengthen all those teams, make those guys play. So bring that window forward, and then at the end of the year in that NPC window, play like a club championship. So say 2 clubs from Auckland qualify, North Harbour, and they all play off similar to like what they do with the first 15s. And then you play off like so Ponsonby, will play Massey from North Harbour, and then they'll play Mid Northern from Northland, and then that club goes on to plays Fraser Tech from Hamilton or whatever, and then you have like the best club in New Zealand every year. That'd be that would bring people down to the clubs, and then the NPC or that ITM Cup or whatever they call it now, Bunnings or Mitre 10 or whoever's sponsoring it, that'll strengthen that, because that's a great stepping stone for young players now. They're going into that, but I still think they need to play club before they play up there. Guys are going first 15 straight to Mitre 10 Cup without playing much club rugby.
That's the dynamic of what Joe done, Jerry Kotheke.
Yeah.
Just like going straight into the ABs, not even played for Auckland. Like that's where it's like, oh, well, their blueprint's sort of thrown out the window because there was a guy.
Yeah.
But Joe was something else, man. Like, you know,
Yeah, you'll always
they didn't
be
come
on,
around.
man. Yeah, just teach some of these guys to harden up a little bit.
I think you're right. I think NPC's gone to the point now where it might be better than Super Rugby.
Probably,
You know, because
I think it is.
we are seeing New Zealand playing their own teams, and it's a better competition. I think. You know, I had the idea of having NPC going the same time as Super Rugby, and using those games to be, using those NPC teams to be a feeder team into the Super Rugby teams, but play at the same time. So, and see what happens there, because you're gonna get people watching these games. You know, you can either watch the Blues game, or you can watch Auckland North Harbour.
Yeah,
in the same week.
It would be good if they worked like how the the Barakat Cup used to feed into the Warriors. Like if it worked like that, it would be interesting. Because if you didn't start or you didn't get any game time, you were playing down, sort of thing. Like if you're 18th man or like 25th, 26th, then you know you're not gonna get a game. Then you go play in the Auckland team. You know, or you go play for Bear Plenty or something like that.
They're bringing that into club rugby now. Some guys are playing. So Langi's playing for Suburbs today because he didn't make the Moana starting squad.
Oh, okay.
So he's played a couple of games, and that's good to see those guys. You know, not just having a week off.
Yeah.
Having some game time. Yeah,
that's good. Shucks, he hasn't played many games this year, has he?
Nah, I don't think he's played any yet. Yeah, I've seen he's been there and thereabouts, but yeah, he's looking fit, bro. He's looking fit.
Only if he could stay up here for the Auckland. Instead of going back down.
Yeah.
Shucks.
He probably enjoys the breakdown, Hawke's Bay.
Yeah.
Surprised he hasn't gone overseas yet, actually. He's a loyal club man.
He had a stint overseas though, didn't he?
Oh, I know, did he? He went France and Japan, that's right. Yeah.
That's
right. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
So what games do you reckon you're looking forward to for the season, bro?
First 15? Always St. Peter's at the moment.
Why St. Peter's? What happened? What happened?
I don't know, just... Well, they beat us in the semi... Remember they had, was it Tongia, the prop?
Yeah. Swanee.
Swanee. There was its team. Yeah, 2000. I think they went on to win nationals that year.
Yeah.
And they knocked us out in that semi. I think we were second or third, yeah.
Told them they'd come back.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I've always had a bit of a bee in my bonnet. And plus them just recruiting from out west, bro. Like, oh, man.
Sammy Hughes kind of testified to this, bro. The amount of fucking parents that would come to him saying, can you explain that to us? Bro, like the sort of like how to get into St. Peter's, paying a certain amount of money, going to a pool of whether you get a acceptment. So what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, there's something about that school I don't like.
Must be the colours too.
Yeah.
How did they go last year?
Who?
St. Peter's?
We beat them in the final, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was a good game. So,
but I was saying to Raven, what about those bloody Henderson intermediate kids there over there? What the fuck?
Was that Ray's son?
Oh, his nephew. But just... they rubs me out the wrong way, man. Knowing that they could have gone to any school out west and then end up at St. Peter's.
Yeah.
It's like, your parents didn't even live that way.
Yeah. It's just the ease of the train, eh? That's their marketing tool.
No, probably straight up, even they was ones. If I got something, you all of a sudden we're in the original breeds. Bastards. Oh, yeah, man, money changes people, man. Money does change people. Fuck.
Yeah. It's funny because you ask people that, like, if you want lots of money, where would you move, or, where would you send your kids? And you always hear, like, I'd send them to Kings or something like that. I'm like, why? Why do that? Just, I mean, we know kids that have gone to all those rich schools and they haven't been any more successful than anyone else. These guys from out west, it's what you make of it, right?
Yeah.
And especially NCA now, it's different to when we were there, you had an exam, so you got like a result, there was like 70 or 50 or 60%, whatever it was. So you could tell how intelligent you were because you had a sort of a gauge. Now it's just pass or fail, right?
Yeah.
And anyone can, bro, NTA seems to me easy. You get credits for picking up rubbish now. That's crazy, man, how kids work it. And they're tactical about it too. So my son's only year 10, but he said he's already got like 40-something credits for next year. So he has to do like half the year next year and he's already passed. Like, man, that's crazy.
So I'm not really familiar with the, what's called NCA. I'm not really familiar, but is it, from what I've heard, it's like internal assess, half of it, and the other half is exams. Is that right?
No,
Or
I
is it
think
more
the
internal?
exams only, I think the exam only accounts for like 10 credits or something maybe. I don't know, but I haven't been through it yet. But yeah, I know of kids that have left school after like September because they've already passed the year, and they don't stay. They don't do the exams. They don't do anything because they've already passed.
Oh, so you can pass all your internals and not even have to do the exam.
Yeah, and they be tactical about it. So I know they get together and then they work out what classes offer what credits. So they pick like, so there might be like home economics or cooking or something, which is probably quite an easy class, and you get like 20 credits for it. And you just got to, they work out, all right, I've got to get 100 credits to pass.
Yeah.
So what classes can I get the most credits from without, doing the least work?
Oh, yeah.
And then there's the core ones that you have to do, but they always go through it and I see it, they pick out which one.
Good on you, bro. You sound invested, bro. I love it. No, because a lot of parents wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But it's good that you've picked that up. Like noticing, bro, if one of your kids can get away with doing that, it was like, hold up, don't just give in because you're past. You can actually be more invested.
I I heard all the complaints about NCEA, and then I heard other things like it's better than just having. When I was at high school, it was just exams at the end of the year, but it's like the thought of just cramming what you know all year into 2 hours of exam time. How hard is that? You gotta make time to study. You gotta hit the books, and it's like you're trying to memorize everything, right? But to cram it all in your head and then put it on paper in 2 hours, everything you've learned the whole year. That seems crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Like,
I enjoyed exams, to be honest.
Yeah, Joel was smart too, eh?
Nah, see, I'd kind of actively listen in the background during class, but then when it came exam time, like I'd just spend a week just going through and remembering or memorizing everything, and then come the exam, I was fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed exams because I could do that. I could sort of muck around most of the year and then just study for the last part. That's good.
But I think the point I was making is like, then after that, a year later, you just forget about it.
Oh, yeah.
So what was the point?
Yeah,
but we're internally assessed, at least you're working along the way, and you're doing assignments. At least you're actively doing something as you go along. Yeah. And then you probably remember it or don't remember it. But at least you're not cramming it all in at the end of the year. And
like what I did.
Yeah.
don't listen for 10 months and then... We had some good teachers. I think Kelston's got quite a good pass rate at NCA over the last couple of years.
Well, Zane dropped it on his pod that I think the Kelston Boys, their pass rate is high for a team, overall. He said they're at like 98% pass rate for Kelston. So he said that's unheard of in the 1A comp.
So obviously, every school wants the kids to do well at school and pass. Like as a coach over there, how do you sort of balance with the kids the sport and schoolwork? Like, is it like okay, if you don't pass this, you're not going to come training, or you won't play, or is it like that sort of thing? Or how do you guys?
I'm not really
encourage.
Not really much of the school side of it because I can only commit to a couple of trainings on a Saturday, so I'm not really involved with the school side of the work. Matt, the rugby director's, he's all over that. I know that they push it pretty hard there, so I haven't seen any kids miss trainings because they've got detention or anything yet. It'll be interesting to see when that happens. So I know they've got quite a few standards like that they've set around appearance and stuff in the team, which has been really cool to see. Like facial hair and things like that, like wearing the right stuff after matches. And they've been quite open and honest with benching. It doesn't matter who you are, if you don't adhere to our policy, that's it. And that's happened quite early on, and it's good because we've probably seen it growing up. Sometimes one of your stars might do something and he'd get away with it because you need him. And then it just creates that almost that where they don't like each other. Some players sort of get a bit funny about it, like, oh, why does he get away with it, why can't I? So it's good to just have that standard really high, and then everyone has to stick to it. It's been good to see.
Oh, it's good if they can stick to it. I have heard a couple of stories float about, and then we're like, wow, it sounds like a Nigel story, eh? He's known above the team.
Yeah, that's it. So
It's sort of the same as coaches, sort of understanding kids with talent. You still got to put in the hard work. Still got to put in the work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the stuff you do that's unseen that's the best. That's what you got to get through to them.
Yeah.
So you might be able to post a video of you kicking some goals at, or mucking around doing some sort of trick, but can you do it when it counts?
Yeah.
When it's cold, when it's raining, that's when you're out there doing the hard stuff.
Man, but you just bring back memories, man. I'll never forget that final we won at Sacred Heart, eh? Our last 15s final, bro. We had a good game, eh?
Yeah.
We had a solid game.
Yeah. So against Max, eh?
It was against Max, yeah. We smashed them, bro. They were gaya. No, they were good, but we fucking smashed them.
Yeah.
But they had nothing. Legit had nothing.
Have you had a game where your last kick won the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a couple missed as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I always remember telling, I don't like to tell too many people, but wasn't there a Kelston team that was the first one to lose the Moiska out of Auckland? So, the Moiska Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was
Oh, was that you guys?
Yeah. So it was only really played for, I think it had to be contested for like 8 times a year or something. But it had been in Auckland for like...
Whose idea was it to take it down, though?
I think it was Nigel's. It was one of the
There you
coaches.
go. There you go.
So we were like, we went down and played Napier and Hastings. And we took it away and we were just like a bit arrogant, and we beat Hastings only just during the week. It's like close game, and then we played Napier on the Saturday. Can I remember we lost by like 3 points? I took a drop goal like right at the end, and I hit the post. And then there was it where we lost. But it's good to see because now the Moiska's everywhere. You see it popping up all over the country, and it's played for. Usually at the Nationals, you always see it there with one of those teams. So I did it on purpose.
Because we had locked it up, eh? We locked it up. I think our last game against Grammar, 2002, at home, we locked it up.
Yep.
That was in the last game of the round robin.
Yep.
Yeah, we had to put it up.
Yep.
And then after that, we were gonna put it up.
2003, yeah.
We got the home semi, so we played them and we smashed them. Then we played them the following week and we lost. But just as well, we beat them the week before because that was the last contest, match at school.
That's Jamie Halosier.
Yeah, it's Jamie's, yeah. True.
The worst game was the under 15s for Auckland. 14s. We played Waikato, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Which I used to like goal kick heaps, like practice heaps. And I remember this one game we playing against Waikato, and I'd practiced all week for hours and hours. And I was like, got to that game, but I just had a shocker. I couldn't kick, man. Missed everything. This is heartbroken. I just remember crying afterwards, like, just wanted to give up.
I wasn't your fault, bro. We should have actually won the game convincingly through the vote pack, bro.
Yeah.
We had a better team that day. Just one of those things. I never blamed you, to be honest. I never thought it was that we lost that game. You lost that game for us, bro. I just felt like, bro, there's 14 other guys on the field, eh?
Yeah.
And these so-called superstars playing first 15 or seconds didn't stand up, bro. They legit didn't stand up. And the Kelston guys fucking carrying these guys. And it felt like that right up until 16s, bro. Every time we got amongst the superstars from other schools, these guys just faded away. And then they were living off the back of what we were doing, And it was evident, bro. But nah, you didn't lose that game for us, bro. The other 14 guys fucking lost it for us because, they didn't show up.
Yeah. I say that to sometimes, like my son and that, when I see them getting real disheartened about something, I'm like, it's just a game, man. Like,
Yeah, it is, bro.
doesn't
It
matter.
is.
I mean, it still sticks with me, but
Yeah.
Nah, bro.
I don't tell them that.
Yeah, I mean, I played Second 5, probably 30 games that year, and then that day, the coach decided to put me on the wing. But if he didn't put me on the wing, Noni would have scored the try that we fucking ended up scoring. And he told me, do not do that behind your back pass. And it was the one pass I did, and fucking my mate scored in the corner. What are you gonna do? If I didn't pass the ball, we wouldn't have scored. We would have lost by a try. But nah, that was a good game, bro. Nah, that was never your fault, bro. That was fucking all those big so-called name players from your son's school. They didn't show up that day.
That's definitely one game that's still
Yeah.
that. I was like, yeah, that sticks with me, bro. Big time.
Oh, that was the final.
Well, sort of like a northern region.
Yeah, but we're both undefeated.
Squads, yeah.
There's some hard boys, in those teams, bro.
Talk about like we had like a couple of disallowed tries, 2 disallowed tries, with the linesman we scored, and then like 3 minutes later, the linesman put his flag. I'm like, what? Wait, what the fuck? What kind of shit is this? Like we're already going back to the halfway. Oh, actually, it's like a freaking Jared Hang rape case right there. It's like, actually, nah. Yes, no consent. Crack up.
There's the first introduction to the cowbells, for everyone like that.
Oh yeah, bro, that was something else, man. Because we were playing like, it was fucking windy as, man. It was like a shocker. It was like one of those games like, oh, we gotta play in this. All right, boys, warm up. Fuck this, man. I'll jump back on the bus. But yeah, we ended up. Yeah, it was like 5-8. We lost by 2 points.
Yeah,
but we were chasing the whole game, bro. But yeah, bro. Even Dan Carter kicked that day. Fuck, he would have been lucky to get one over. Because fuck, it was windy as. There's no way anyone was gonna get kicked that day, and they still were right in front. But yeah, I just remember, fuck. What do you mean he was out? And then another couple of plays. Oh, it looks like a double movement. What the fuck is double movement? He slid over the line. What the fuck is this? But yeah, I remember getting a scrum. We had a scrum 5 meters from the line, and Nonu was half. Nonu was playing half. You were playing fullback, hey? So I got moved from second 5 to the wing, and Nonu was at the scrum, and he's looking. We got like a couple of grammar guys in the grammar midfield, and Nonu was like, so let's come to your side. But these guys don't know. They're already setting a set piece. And 9 times out of 10, I knew he was going to come my side, you know. We played with each other from schoolboys, from primary. Passes me the ball. I got the ball, did a little step, and ran back towards the number 8 and the winger. And it took 2 of them to tackle me. But because I put the winger in, I just flicked the ball behind, and none of them come around. And instead of like catching the ball and trying to bring it around, the man runs straight to the sideline, made the kick harder for Joe.
Oh.
It's like shut on.
Did you get the kick over?
No.
But it was a good game, dude. And he touched the ball like 3 times.
Yeah, it was a tough day. It was a tough day.
Yeah, but I wasn't disheartened, bro. Like on the way right home, I was like, nah, man, bro, we like 2 freaking disallowed tries, man. Just wasn't our day. But the only hard thing hearing it, because they hadn't lost since Ronnie Clark and that.
Oh, okay.
That's how far back.
Yeah. The 15s might have lost that day as well, because I remember I might.
Oh yeah.
Real gutted.
But even them, they hadn't lost. Going back, Michael Jones and that.
Yeah.
Sometime. Auckland's never lost this game. Going back as far as Ronnie Clark. Oh wow. Talk about pressure. Eh? The coaches knowing about pressure. Should have just told us to go play our normal game, man.
Are you still on?
Yeah, still on.
Yeah. 90 minutes.
Man, you know what though? You're gonna listen to this, or like you might watch over it. But like when I bumped into you up in Kelston at the butcher, I was going to the butcher. Like you said, you've been listening in. Like, what have you found interesting from listening to the other guys talk about? Like, I think you said
it's
it's
been really cool. Yeah, hearing people's like struggles and stories that you didn't know. Because you catch up with your mates, you always get the good. Like everyone tells you what's been happening or all the good stuff. So you're hearing some of like the real raw stuff because when you're sat here it's probably a bit, more not as confronting to talk about different things. So it was really good listening to different people's stories. Heaps of stuff I didn't know about other people, that struggles they've been through or whatever, or what they've been up to. And, some of them, like Bill, I probably haven't seen him in years, but it's quite cool to, just listen to his sort of story. And you wouldn't catch up with someone and sit there and have a 90-minute conversation with them. Yeah. So when you've got the time and you listen to a podcast, it's quite cool because you've actually got that time to listen to it. And I enjoyed watching all this.
It's been me. Thanks to this guy.
Yeah.
For bringing all you guys in.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised you didn't get messages all the time like, can I do it?
Yo, it's surprised. Yeah, well, not so much surprised, but like a little bit disheartened when I've reached out to guys. Because I knew, I felt like, man, they would have a good story that a lot of people would connect or like it would resonate with.
Yeah.
And yeah, so even when I've been on days like that, but for you to bump into me and go, okay, you should jump on. As in, I just asked like, oh man, you're too busy. But for you to turn around and go, yeah, bro, that to me lifts my spirit up. And fuck yeah, man, because I wanted to share the space with other guys to come on and just be able to just have a yarn, because it's just the yarn, man.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I can't do the camera. I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? He's like getting an opportunity to spin shit, man. It's like, jump on.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, it's been good, bro. I really enjoyed it. Didn't even notice the camera. We just started talking at the start, and it just carried on. Just sort of started flowing. So,
that's the kind of style we have on this podcast. Because it's like the idea of the listener being a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't even do an intro. We didn't do any intros because it's all written down in the description when you look at the episode. So everything's there anyway.
Yeah.
So people just, because I get that kind of feedback. Huh, man, who's this guy? How come we don't even introduce him? Man, that's a different show.
Yeah.
This window I say hi to mom and my missus, because my missus might watch this and be like, you didn't even mention me at all.
Nah, I just love that. Because we've got so much history, bro, and it's, I knew life gets in the way, we do our thing and that, but I just know, like, with the many brothers that have passed away, and now time that we've left school, they're like, I can sort of like, I know I'll go back and I'll watch this, but just being able to bring someone on that I know we've got, like, history, like, being on the piss and playing footy together, because we've been in the trenches so many times, and especially to have a subject with, bro, we just had our bodies, beating the shit out. Like, back then, shout out to Mr. Cooley, man. He would have thought he was doing this a good thing, doing like the yo-yos and that on a Thursday or on a Wednesday. Hello, we got a game on Saturday. Like, shit. Like, kids get the rest these days. Like, oh, don't ever exercise. But I mean, yeah, to bring you on, bro, it's like, to me, it's like, bro, it's a nice reflection of like life and where we are now. Yeah. Sort of thing.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
But yeah, I just love that you're back in the rugby space at school, bro. It's like, it's about bloody time.
Yeah, I've always been aiming to do that, but it's just hard trying to juggle the kids with the young kids. Like, even with my kids, I told them, like, I don't coach their teams. A lot of dads do it, and I always wanted to, but because I've got 5 playing, like, who do I pick and choose? Where to do it? Because it's quite a commitment, man. Like, I know I took my daughter's team 1 year only because no one would do it, and I said, look, I can't give it the energy that it needs, Like some say single mum might send their kid down there and expect this coach to give them this undivided attention and turn up 20 minutes before training and do all that. But I was just getting there when I could, and and I felt bad for some parents, like they might be wanting their kid to learn heaps, but I'm just there to kind of babysit.
I mean, yeah, like at the grassroots and stuff, like people gotta remember, we're volunteers,
Yeah.
Like these people aren't paid like professionals, and man, they literally either have to like knock off work early or like put something on hold because they're giving the commitment to the club and stuff. Like I love doing the tea and singlet handouts because when I hear old boys that are coaching within the school, they tell me about all the obstacles that they've had to like put up with. But then when I hear like, oh yeah, bro, I had to knock off a job early so I could go pick one of the bros up because we were both coaching. And they said when they show up to the thing and then someone's cancelled the training, it was like, give them their gas in there, I was back and he goes, oh bro, and like you can only do a couple of these walk off the job ones. Yeah. But yeah, that makes me sad. But yeah, a lot of volunteers, Yeah.
They're
pretty much the ticker behind all the community stuff.
That's why, like, the first 15 things, that's all volunteers too now.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's not the prestigious schools have got a bit of money so they can throw it around, but you do it at Kelston for the love. I think that's why they really wanted, when they were looking for someone, they wanted an old boy to do it, because they know that their best interest at heart. It's not, no one's there for the money, and they can sort of give it. Yeah.
Do you think it would lose the actual position, and the school would lose its value if they started paying someone to do it? Because I know there's been a few people screaming about it.
Yeah, I think the head coach could be a paid role, definitely. But you definitely have to have a good couple of guys around them that are old boys. Because we now constantly talk about the DNA. So this is our rugby DNA. This is so. It'd be hard for someone to stand there and say this is our DNA when it's not in them. They don't know what it's like. So it's good for them to lean on, and the coach that's there now he's from Wellington, one of the dads, but every now and then he gets in touch with Vi and Willie and Matt are still there, so he gets that DNA from them and then can pass it on. So it's good to still have that there, so it doesn't lose its identity.
Yeah, having a team culture is important, eh? And for culture to happen, you have to have identity. And since it's Kelston Boys first 15, that identity has to go through the generations of Kelston Boys, and having old boys there doing it just makes sense. It makes logical sense to keep the culture and identity of the team.
Yeah, and it's exciting because you can tell the players, this is your chapter now. This is what we did, but now it's your turn to leave your name.
Yeah.
Let everyone, those year 9s now talk about you guys when they're year 13.
See that blueprint of having a Kelston Boys brotherhood, that's entrenched, right? Like I think when it comes to New Zealand sports culture, that blueprint needs to be for everything else in terms of the New Zealand sports fan. You create that culture in the teams you support, like Auckland Blues or Chiefs or even the Warriors, and then just start from there and see where it goes. Because I think it'll lead to a bigger, maybe more economical model for sports in New Zealand. Like, how sports teams always talk about needing funding. And they always go to the government. The government gives the sports funding, But then I really think that if it wasn't there, if the government wasn't giving money to New Zealand sport, it will be from the fans. So how do you create that from the fans? How do you get the money from the fans to support their teams? Well, they don't now because we don't have that sort of sports culture here.
Yeah.
Where you get a packed house at every Blues game or every Crusaders game. Or Crusaders because they win, or you don't. We don't have that because we don't have any identity.
Yeah.
To the teams that represent our city.
Yeah.
Or even netball.
Yeah.
Like everyone go down.
Yeah.
To support.
Yeah.
Because it's not only a netball team. It's because they represent Auckland City.
Yeah.
And we live here.
Yeah. Probably a lot to do with cost of cost of the events, buying tickets to go somewhere. I wanted to go to the cricket the other week. It was like $60 to go to cricket. That's crazy. I went to I was gutted to hear yesterday the Tuatara announced at their receivership, but I took my kids. Yeah, I took my kids to one of the baseball games this year, and man, honestly, it was the best day out. So I went in. They have 2 games on the same day, but it's like $10 I think a kid, or $8 a kid, and $15 an adult. But we were there, and they were giving out pizza. Like my kids won a shirt. They gave out pita, gave out heaps of stuff. They kept all the baseballs from the players that came in the crowd. So my kids loved it, man. I just sat there, me and my missus had a few beers and watched the game, in the sun. It was awesome, man. That's the model that you need. Is it was entertaining for my kids. My missus didn't really care about the game. She's not much of a baseball fan, doesn't understand the game, but I went because I love sports, so I was watching the game. But my kids we were there for 6 or 7 hours, all day.
But that
was awesome, man.
It's got to be a family event, man. It's got to be family friendly.
Yep.
But it's got to be able to help, tick everything off for everyone that's going.
Yeah.
It was a few beers, bro. Of course you're gonna. half a dozen. Uber, leave the car there. We'll catch the bus.
It says here that they're bankrupt.
Yeah, man.
They've got the
I
basketball
know.
as well. Eh?
Yeah.
Auckland Tuatara,
Yeah.
New Zealand NBL team.
Yeah, it's a shame. So hopefully something comes of it and someone can help them.
But see, that sort of making that that baseball game. It's baseball, eh? Baseball, softball, baseball. Making that game an event. You know, when the kids can get free food and all that kind of stuff. You know,
100%.
I think if you go to a New Zealand Breakers game, sort of have the same sort of atmosphere.
Yeah. My kids love Breakers as well. Yeah, it's good.
And that's a family oriented thing, eh? Because
100%.
they have the halftime shows and all that kind of stuff. The
The
DJ and the MC.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Probably loud.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just getting old.
Yeah, but there needs to be more of that, I think.
That's what they need at the rugby, definitely. You know, they got the Eden Park number 2. Just open that up. Have some bouncy castles and or just like a little Ferris wheel, the little spinny teacups for the kids, man. Because look, as a parent, like I want to take my kids somewhere that they enjoy, but if it ticks a box for me, then that's a plus, right? I want to go to the rugby, but I hate going to the rugby with my kids, and all they want me to do is go buy them donuts, right?
Yeah.
Like, can we just go? And I'm just like, and then I'll stand in line for 20 minutes and I miss half the game. I'm like, might as well watch it at home, and they can play on their phone or do something different, you know? But it's about getting out. So if they can have those sorts of events where, satisfies everyone, then.
Like, see, I'm impressed with NBA right now because I don't know if you're watching the NBA playoffs that are on right now, but I think it's Sacramento Kings versus Golden State Warriors. Sacramento Kings win, and they've got this thing where the fans push the button or something, or light the beam, where the star player, there's like a big, massive button that they roll out, and it's called light the beam. So they press the button, and all the lights turns purple. But outside the stadium, there's this big light just shines up in the sky, and everybody. Well, if you're not in the stadium, everybody's outside watching the big screen.
Yeah.
Watching the game on big screen outside, and everyone's got their phones out going, like that. But it's that kind of thing, just for the fans, you know?
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Man, you give me an idea for the Kelston Boys, man. Putting up a flagpole, Put a flagpole up on the thing, get it halfway, and start putting it up just before kickoff, man. Getting the crowd ready to count down.
That kind of thing. These kind of...
Yeah.
Are they gimmicks? These kind of good... They're not gimmicks, they're something, like a tradition, style of tradition, or something.
Yeah.
Something you do before a game,
Ritual.
Like a ritual kind of thing. Yeah. But again, in America, they're really good at doing this kind of stuff. I saw the college football last year where the fans actually come down, take down the jump on the post, and take it down, and then they all take the post out and dump it in the river outside if they win the game.
Yeah.
What, every game?
No, if they win, I think
finals.
there's two particular teams that play against each other every year. But if one team always loses, but if they win, the fans can come down and take the post down and dump it in the river.
That'd be cool, man.
But it's like a tradition, you know.
Yeah. Just on that note, can anyone sponsor some rugby posts for Kelston? $8,000 for new rugby posts there. I said they marked out their new field.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to get posts for it, and they said it's $8,000 for rugby posts. So.
Picture for
If anyone's listening, engineering business or something, come and just make us up some metal posts.
Damn.
It's expensive, eh?
I know there's a set of posts sitting up at Tiriti South Park, and they've just been sitting there. You can always go and council can far out.
Actually, there might be some sitting in the bloody back of suburbs field by that creek.
Oh,
the old number one's post lying down there.
Go do a mission at night or something.
It'd probably be cheaper just to hire a trailer than to go get a set brand new.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's not a half soccer, half rugby face one.
yeah.
Right.
It's cool that you're into sports, all sorts of sports, because you take time to take your kids out and watch.
Yeah.
Because you go to cricket, you go to baseball. You know, it's good. How do you make time, like to? I know you make time, but how do you juggle following these teams or that you enjoy
Tribe, bro. The app,
Tribe.
Tribe.
Yeah.
Nah, I'd try and get my kids into as much as they can, Because like I might have said earlier, like there's so many things in different sports that correlate with others. You know, there's just the little things that you can do. Yeah, working off the ball, like you do that in every sport, right? You know, you see the players that communication, all those sorts of things, team camaraderie, all that stuff. That just try and get them to learn stuff different ways. You know, it's not always the same.
Yeah, for me, I find it. I try to watch every single game every weekend. It's hard.
Yeah.
Especially when NRL's been so good lately. Man, NRL's been mean, like way better than Super Rugby right now. And man, because I'm a rugby union guy.
Yeah.
But man, this year NRL's taken over my time, because every game is close. There's how many golden points have we had? And it's only round 8, you know?
Yeah, it's been really good.
It's real competitive.
Yeah.
We told these guys, round 10 is where it counts, bro. After the magic round, then you start to see the top 8 separate from the bottom half.
Yeah, but you always get those teams down the bottom that can knock over the top teams on their day.
Yeah,
You know, like you seen that last week? Was it who Raiders beat Broncos?
Yeah.
After they'd lost by 50 points, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
There's not many sports in the world where that happens.
Well, if you look in the NRL standings and look at the top 4, they were not even close to top 8 last year. You know, any of them. You know, like Broncos, even the Bulldogs are doing good, but they've got injuries now. But you know, it's like if you compare that to Super Rugby over the years, it's always like the same teams. You know, all the time. You don't get a really chance to be at the bottom of the table one year and then the next year at the top 4. You know. And I think because, you know, you touched on beginning of the podcast about rugby being like a thinking game. You know, when rugby league is just straight up there, like it's just simple. You know, and I think the whole six tackles and then changeover, because every team has a chance to get the ball back after 6 tackles. Where in rugby, like you got to steal the ball, phase after phase. So you could have the ball for a longer period of time than you can. And I think what makes NRL exciting, or rugby league exciting, especially in NRL, because you can be down 3 tries and 10 minutes to go and still win the game. You know?
Because you'll leave the ball for half that time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if you're down by 3 tries and rugby union is 10 minutes to go, then what's the chances? Like maybe 10% chance you'll win.
That's one thing I was listening to the Matty Johns podcast like recently, and his sons were playing, and they're talking about rugby still having the basic sort of setup that they've had ever since he played, which was like the first 4 hit-ups are down the middle, and then you wait till your strike plays are tackle 4, tackle 5. But to me, I reckon that's a bit of a waste. I don't know. It's my mentality. You got 6 chances to have a crack. Like, why not do it? And that's what annoys me about a scrum in rugby league is they'll have a scrum in the middle of the field. You've got 13 on the field, and then you've got, 6 in there plus the halfback. So you've got a 60-metre space with 5 defenders in it. You basically got 10 metres to beat a man one-on-one. Like, why are you not playing to an edge off that? I mean...
Yeah, they sort of just dive into the first
or they
tackle.
pass it to the first guy off a
ready.
scrum and he runs into the guy standing in front of him. I don't know. I just think there needs to be more, like a Tony Brown or Brain taken into league, I reckon would make a massive difference with his trick plays, you know, like the Harlequins type style where, you know, a couple of years ago a team pushed in a scrum and everyone was like, whoa, you know, they won the ball back. Everyone was like, what? That's not what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, you'd be surprised how many guys don't know that, man. Fuck, it cracks me up.
Yeah.
It's like an NFL when you can pass, you know, when the quarterback passes the ball. Did you know you can pass the ball backwards unlimited times? Unlimited times?
Yeah.
That's what the Archie was known famous for, right? That was the receiver. He was the quarterback. He was known for multiple passing the ball, but he was that good that like when someone saw him pass the ball, they were like, the college was, what the fuck? He just ran backwards and then threw it, got it back again and then threw forward. Like they'll buzz you know that you can do that.
Yeah. But no one does it there.
Nah.
But you think like if you want, because you know rugby, you always pass the ball backwards, and you score tries that way. You know. Yeah. Like you could do that in the NFL. Like why don't I don't know why the coaches don't create plays that allows you to pass back.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I reckon it's just the model of blueprint that everyone else follows. It's like adheres to the same blueprint. Yeah. That's different. It'll be foreign. It'll be real foreign if they started doing that.
That's why I like watching heaps of different sports, because you pick up all these things, right?
Yeah.
You know, and you look at that, like the rugby league, the front door, back door, like that started to come into rugby now the last 3 years, whereas league's been doing that for quite a while. So someone's picked that up and been like, oh yeah, and adapted it to the rugby model.
And because you play touch as well, like bro, that's a hands-on, like almost near basic move and touch, eh?
Yeah.
Which is like, that's pretty much how they do. And there's lesser people on the field as well.
Yeah. That's one sport that needs to come back into New Zealand, man, is touch.
I watch the state touch, bro, just highlights.
Yeah, same.
But the Australian ones are like, damn, imagine if they put that to the, like, imagine Sean Johnson times that all on the field, man. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's what you need to see. That's what you want to watch more of, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Those sort of people games, you just control the game.
Touch is a good sport for those skill sets, eh?
Yeah, there's not enough tournaments, out there, I don't reckon. Like there used to be when I was younger, every weekend there was a touch tournament somewhere. Someone would have a tournament, come play this, but now it's all about tag.
Tag, yeah, tag.
Man, like, every kid just wants to play tag, but it's because they want the gears, right? They want the uniforms, they want the tournaments, they want to, you know, and that SAS tournament to me is just an absolute moneymaker. Like,
yeah, bro, these guys are
it's a
freaking
cash
crooks,
cow,
bro.
man. Yeah.
Or the one at South
Brisbane, yeah. But they had it like 2 years ago. When the kids played there and they didn't have enough referees on the final day.
Yeah,
and then, oh man, bro, then I think they
went on
gave you back
strike
like
or something.
$20 or something. They gave you back, but your fees was like $100. Then you got to buy your uniform, and every team has to buy the uniform from SAS.
Yeah.
It's just the absolute moneymaker.
But how was tag? How can tag, the skill set for tag? How can that go into rugby or go into other sports?
Nah, it's like a league. It's definitely a league thing
It's
for
more a
me.
league game,
Because the whole turning your hips around, you don't really do that, eh?
Nah.
In
you
the
don't
contact
do
sport, eh?
Nah. I always try to get my kids to play touch, because I say to them, you know, if you can't get touched, you can't get tackled, right? Whereas in tag, I could run between you two, and you might just miss my tag, and I go through and score a 2-point try, right? Whereas if it was contact, you guys would smash me. Yeah. So that's why I like touch. You've actually got to go through a hole without anyone being near you to score a try or create space.
Yeah.
And to me, it's more about manipulating defenders. You know, like I always say that I try and coach a bit of sevens. For players, it's about moving the defender. You know, like getting the defender to do what you want him to do, right? So I've got the ball. I want you to do something because it's going to do something for someone else. You know, like I said before about the chess thing. That's why I like touches, because it's you're setting something up to strike at a later moment.
And you think about those guys that came out of touch, like Sean Johnson and Benji Marshall, eh? Like that, those set the skills that they got from touch, you know, carried over in the row and did amazing things over there.
Yeah, but they changed the game big time. Like I know we're from an era of like watching Matty Johns and Stacey Jones, and then you know the guys before them like Ricky Stewart and that, bro. But when Johnson and Benji came on the scene, bro, their set of skills was freaking foreign as fuck, man. Like no one had ever seen the stuff that they were doing.
It's getting coached out of players, I reckon. You know,
I knew that.
Just being too robotic.
Yeah, true. Eh?
You know, with you being a coach and with this new generation of coaches, you know, coaching the kids now, like where do you think that style of rugby will now go to when the kids are older, into playing in Super Rugby or being All Blacks, in terms of like the style of play? Because when I think about the World Cup coming up, and when I think about the resurgence of rugby up in the north, you know, the way they play is sort of gone back to the old. Because if you look at their forward packs, they're really massive.
Yeah.
Big necks, stocky big dudes, you know. And like when you look at our forward packs, by the Chiefs, but if you look at the Blues, like our props are like lean, tall, skinny, you know. It's not that kind of build.
Yeah. Well, I think New Zealand Rugby adapted a bit of league to their style, and you hear coaches now talk about shape. So they play like a 2-3-2 or whatever, and they split their forwards evenly across the field. You know, like they do in league, where you have your second rowers out in the centres, and they do that a bit with rugby now, and that's how they can get their ball players. They get the ball out wide, and you've got forwards everywhere to kind of rescue. But the Northern Hemisphere teams have picked that up, and that's how they, you know, I reckon over the last 2 years they've shut us down by just line speed, because we're always playing out the back and our forwards are in front of us, right? And the backs are there, and then we're getting caught here and our forwards are at the front. and they're just beating us off line speed, and then it clicks over, and we're not used to defending that. So now they're playing. You watch Ireland do it a lot. Their backdoor play, basically emulating what the All Blacks have been doing, and we struggle with that. So I reckon it needs to almost come back full circle, and we need to go back to just like 8-man pack forwards in the forwards, and try and bring them in to create the space. Because now at defense and rugby, no one goes to the ruck, right? Everyone just fans out. The guy makes a tackle, you have a jackler, and then you've got 13 guys defending at that 60-meter space. So how do you bring more people into that space to have 10 and 50 meters or whatever it is? You're going to have to come up with something. I don't know what it is, but you've got to bring those guys into that space, because that's what you coaching players now, just to don't worry about that. Like, that guy's going to tackle that guy. He's going to do his job. You just mark what's in front of you. So you need to be able to drag defenders in there.
So players need to learn the rules too, man. I'm so surprised that even at 15 level, even like at Super Rugby level, some players look like they're out of place. Like, why do you know you're offside or not coming through the gate? Like, how often do you hear that coming from the wrong side? Like, short arm penalty. Oh, he's obviously pinned before he goes to his pocket. And be like, mate, you're coming from the freaking wrong side. It's like, how obvious is that? Like, everyone else can see it at home. And then you see the dude play. Did he actually square up? Like, he's facing the sideline. He's not coming from the right side.
I know they're changing a bit more on the attacking side. I've noticed coaches are teaching players now not to, I don't know, when you're younger, to staple, to make the gate small. So you'd sort of make yourself a U shape so that the gate was small. But when you've got a jackler over there and you're coming over to the ruck, people coming in on attack and taking them out from the side, so that you're kind of losing the ball when you're on attack. So you were teaching players to be a little bit more long, to open the gate up so your guys can come in and clear out from a bit further away.
But even simple, I hate to bring it up, but even the Westlake Kelston game last year, and the ball's right in front of you, it's 3 people there's a ruck, hands away. Simple things like pick the ball up and get up the middle, not wait for someone to grab it out of the ruck. It's like, hands away. It's not even a ruck was formed. Someone pick it up. Even that sort of stuff, bro. I'm like, shit, this is top 16, and no one can't see the ball, just pick it up.
Even the pod stuff they do, I mean, when I see that, you think, you know exactly what they're gonna do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good game of the best game of the season to that I saw, and it was sort of similar to what you were saying about the Northern Hemisphere's teams picking up on, was the Auckland Canterbury game. It was Canterbury were so all over them, rushing up, that they were shutting down the next 3 or 4 guys, waiting for the ball. That Nepo Laulala was fucking so frustrated, because every time he got the ball, he was getting smashed, man. And they were all up in their face, not even committing to the ruck, and then fanning out, and then the guys are just standing there like, bro, 2 guys already in over the ball, but no one's there to pick it up. It's like they were just flustered.
Yeah, that's like those coaches or players that are just too robotic. They're just being coached to do something
that's
right.
That's it, yeah.
They'll do what they've trained.
Yeah,
and I don't like unopposed training sessions, because anyone can look good running against no one, right?
Yeah.
Where's the space? There's space in front of you, because as soon as you put a bit of pressure on someone, then they've got to learn to adapt. You got a basic move, but generally the first one you call is not the right one, right? It's the extras on top of that. So you got to make sure everyone's got, a move 1, but it has 3 options. So I try and, with the backs now, just have 4 or 5 core moves, but everyone has 3 or 4 different options, because you don't know what's going to happen. And every team plays the same moves, right? There's nothing too crazy about moves that we've seen. Everyone sees the same stuff on TV, so they try and emulate it. So it's teaching them how to read what the defenders do. So yeah, it's interesting.
He say you would like to be those video analysts. Does anyone tape any of the games that you can watch over afterwards?
You usually tape our games. So I'm looking forward to watching those Sunday mornings, Sunday afternoons,
and picking apart.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep a bit of a book because you could probably quite quickly see if someone's doing something wrong every time. You know, there'll be a pattern to someone's, and it could be something small like just feet placement or, you know, how they sort of line their body up or whatever. So it'd be good to try and, you know, hone in on some stuff like that. So I don't know if they've got that in the first 15 space. I'd enjoy to do that.
Man, I tell you what, bro, I am looking forward to the Grammar Kelson game, bro. That's got to be the game of the round.
When's that? Is that date?
You know what,
I'll tell you.
But it's simply because it's the old boys connection there, man. And because we've played with the grammar coach. And, bro, he's a solid boy. He's a solid guy. But because for him to say, bro, we got at least 24, my 26 coming back for the next couple of years. But now that you're in the coaching's face, it's like, bro, that's going to be even mean bent after the game.
They didn't do well last year.
Liston round 3.
Or it's early this year.
Yeah, at Liston. And then round 6. 17th of June.
And that's it.
At Grammar.
At Grammar.
Yeah. So then the last 3 games are Sacred Heart at home, St. Kitts at home, and St. Peter's at home.
Sure.
So that's a hard run, eh?
Yeah, semi-final run every game.
Yeah, but well, yeah, it's effectively going to be a quarter-final, I reckon, because that'll have a bearing on these positions. Definitely.
Man, the only thing, for instance, I can chuck at you, bro, is the boys got to know every point counts. Every point counts, man. Because, yeah, coming into that back end of the, top sort of 4 sort of thing, eh? Every point's gonna help or be used against you sort of thing.
Yeah, we got a good squad. Good team, yeah.
How much of the core from last year's gone?
Probably lost 6 or 7
Oh, shit.
from last year, yeah. Yeah, of the main players. Starting 15, but there's still some really good players there, yeah. Yeah, our midfield's really good this year. Really good midfield, yeah. Yeah, so
how many years have you been with them? How many years have you been coaching at Kelston Boys?
just this year's my first. Yeah.
yeah.
I took 7s a few years ago, but yeah, I sort of stood away when my son went to Mags because I felt a bit wrong.
Yeah. Because there's one Kelston Boys kid that plays for Manly Seagulls now.
Yeah, Ray.
Yeah.
So he was in my 7s team that I took.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He got. Did he get yellow carded last weekend?
He got a pull-on report.
Oh,
yeah. He smashed Munster.
Is he my son? No.
Nah. So his younger brother's in our team this year, second 5. He played, I think he played flanker last year for the first 15. Jarrell, number 8 maybe.
Okay.
Apparently he's ranked like the top number 8 in the country for first 15.
Oh, the brother?
Yeah,
oh.
and the top second 5. So he holds 2 positions, yeah, and he's only year 12.
Blues should be watching that guy.
Yeah, eh?
Blues should be watching that guy.
Yeah. Oh, he'll probably mention go with his brother and play league, probably.
Play league, yeah. His brother's doing well because that's the team I support.
Manly.
Yeah, Manly.
He's just got a hard job, bro. I mean, you got Saab and what's the other winger, Garrick.
Yeah.
So he's got 2 pretty good wingers. He's got to try and get in front of.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing well though. It's good to see.
I wonder if he could play centre. Maybe. Don't know.
Probably. He's a good rugby player.
Mm.
Yeah.
How did you know the story how he got picked to go over?
Nah, I think probably just like most of them from the 7s, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Not too
That's
sure.
awesome to see though.
Yeah, it's good. See the represented all the kids from Kelson at the 20s?
Nah, I didn't watch any of that.
Man, we had the second most kids from our school. Hamilton had, I think we had 13 across the 5 teams in the New Zealand 20s, and Hamilton had 1 more. They had 14. Well, we had kids in the Pacifica team, the Barbarians, like Blues, Hurricanes, Crusaders, and Chiefs. Yeah, someone in every team, which is pretty good.
Yeah, considering we don't poach just local boys, neighborhood kids. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Sure, yeah, but I've always said that, man. When the 1A does well, the Blues do well, and like when it's the local kids, like Lenny and friend Henderson, Kelson does really good. Like, yeah, there's evidence in that. Through the last 3 years, actually, Yeah, we just hold our own, for a small school.
Yeah. Good, man.
Solid, bro.
Done? Nah, all good?
Yeah, bro. No, I appreciate you making the time for us, also. And thanks for supporting the West West Network. Feels like it's been ages, but I was just watching from first thing rugby like the other year, like last year.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me, man. It's been awesome.
That was good, man. It's good.
I was sitting outside in my truck before. I was like, oh, man, I might be a bit nervous. I don't know what I want to say. I might watch it back and be like, oh, what did I say that for? But, oh, well. Yeah. You gonna eat it today?
Yeah. I used to have a couple of years ago when we started, I always have to have a bottle of whiskey just on the table, just for the nerves,
You're telling me that now?
I should bring that back.
Yeah.
We're talking about identity and culture. That's the culture.
Yeah.
So what's happening? I know you got your school training and you got the games on Saturday. So what's happening for you next few weeks? Like with anything?
Just rugby wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a game next week. We'll go down and watch the under 14s and 15s playing down the Hamilton Boys, which will be good. Gonna try and create some sort of exchange there. But their first 15's busy, so. And then we hit the season running 2 weeks, so yeah, looking forward to that. I think everyone's looking forward to it. The boys are hissing. We had a good camp a couple of weeks ago. I didn't go up there, but yeah, it's been awesome.
Who's the first game of the round?
Already, I think. Yeah.
Walk in the park, mate.
Yeah, we've got a couple of...
Make sure we're not a blue wall result like the grammar.
Yeah. Nah, it's got a few easy-ish games to start off, and then we hit Kings. And then sort of got a few of those middle-of-the-table games.
Yeah.
There's always have that banana skin, though, like mid-season with De La Salle. They're always a tough one, for our boys. So, yeah, if we can get through that unscathed and then just hit those last 3 games, running will be good, Yeah. I don't think anyone's done 3 in a row for a while.
Does it even exist in this?
I don't know.
Probably not this century.
Yeah, I haven't heard of anyone doing 3 in a row. St. Kitts probably went close when they had their money era.
Yeah.
And they brought all the Rockathoka and all that. But I think even then they probably lost a couple of finals there.
Yeah.
So those players didn't care about the school. They they're just there to make NZ schools.
Sweet, brother.
All good, man.
Sweet job.
Thank you. Just right. Thanks, boss.